A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Remember, a Hallmark card when you care enough to send the very best. Tonight, from Hollywood, the makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you Herbert Marshall in James Hilton's Lost Horizon on the Hallmark Playhouse. Each week, Hallmark will bring you Hollywood's greatest stars in outstanding stories chosen by one of the world's best-known authors, the distinguished novelist, Mr. James Hilton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Hilton. Tonight on our Hallmark Playhouse, we have the great honor of welcoming one of Hollywood's most distinguished actors, Mr. Herbert Marshall.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's a great honor for me to play in your Lost Horizon. Not only a wonderful story, but it has really put a new word into the language. Shangri-La. I wonder if before we start, you'd mind telling us whether there is a real Shangri-La somewhere.
Well, you won't find it on any of the maps. But in a sort of a way, everyone can find his own Shangri-La in his own heart. It may not be easy, but the birth of a new year is a good time to make the resolution, to find a little personal peace of mind in a troubled world. And now, Frank Oz, haven't you a word or two to say?
There's a new year coming, a new year with a brand new set of important days for remembering people, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays. For all these days, for every memorable occasion on your calendar, there's a Hallmark card that says just what you want to say, the way you want to say it. And on the back of every card appears the hallmark that says you cared enough to send the very best. Now, James Hilton's Lost Horizon, starring Herbert Marshall.
You are now deep in the mountains of Tibet, the highest part of the Earth's surface. That snow-capped peak above you is Karakau, and below, in the valley of the Blue Moon, lies the lamasery of Shangri-La.
I came to this world across the mountains from India. We had been flying from Baskul to Peshawar on the northwest frontier. I was the British consul in Baskul, and my vice-consul, a young fellow named Melanson, was making the trip with me. Besides us, there were two other passengers and the pilot. Our plane should have landed in Peshawar at about 5:30. We never arrived at our destination.
Conway. I say, Conway, are you asleep?
What's the matter, Melanson? Anything wrong?
I'm not sure, but I think our pilot's off his course.
Nonsense.
Well, look down there. Nothing but mountains as far as you can see.
I don't recognize this part of the world at all. I should say you were right, Melanson. The man's lost his way.
What's that, Conway? You say we were lost?
Lost? Good heavens.
It's quite all right, Miss Brinklow. There's nothing to be upset about, I'm sure.
Still, there's nothing like finding out, is there? Shall I speak to the pilot, Conway?
Thanks, I'll do it. You, there, pilot. Open the panel.
I advise that you ask no questions, please.
Oh, certainly.
Look here, we want to know where we are.
I advise that you be seated.
I will not be seated.
Madison, I don't know whether you've noticed it, but there's a revolver pointed directly at my chest. I think you better do as the gentleman suggests. For hours after that, we sat in the darkness, each of us pretending to sleep. Suddenly, the plane lurched sharply. There was a loud rushing sound in my ears, and I realized we were coming down, but fast, much too fast. We stumbled from the plane, badly shaken, and all but the pilot uninjured. The cold was intense, a solid, icy cold that you could touch with your fingertips. I knew we must be somewhere in Tibet, a vast, barren region of windswept upland.
Conway!
I'm here. There's something the matter with this pilot fella.
There was little we could do for him, and as the early rays of the sun caught the summit of the mountain, the man died.
I say, Conway.
Yeah?
I've just been looking at that mountain. Am I seeing things? Are those men coming toward us?
They were men, a party of a dozen or more, crawling like ants across the white face of the cliff. As they drew near, we saw they carried among them a hooded chair, and in it a heavily robed figure, an elderly Chinese, gray-haired, clean-shaven.
I come from the lamasery of Shangri-La. My name is Chang. You, sir, would you be good enough to present me to your friends?
Of course, this is Miss Brinklow, Mr. Barnard, and Mr. Melanson. My name is Conway.
Conway, yes. Your plane is beyond repair?
I'm afraid so. And anyway, our pilot is dead.
Yes. You will come to Shangri-La. It is a hazardous journey, and the only place of habitation within 1,000 miles. I shall be happy to accompany you.
That's very kind, thank you.
And we'd like to hire some of your porters to help us on the journey back. We want to return to civilization as soon as possible.
Are you so certain you are away from it?
There was a pass of 20,000 feet, which we managed with the aid of long ropes. When we had struggled breathlessly to the top, I saw above us, shimmering in the rosy twilight, the loveliest mountain on earth.
That snow-capped peak above you is Karakal. And below, in the valley of the blue moon, lies the lamasery of Shangri-La.
I never exactly remembered how we arrived at the lamasery. The thin air had a dreamlike texture, and I was conscious of a strange sensation, half mystical, half visual, of having reached at last some place that was an end, a finality. Shangri-La, I learned, was a sort of monastery whose inhabitants ruled the natives in the valley below. Those in full armorhood numbered about 50, and their prevalent belief was in moderation, the virtue of avoiding excess of all kinds. These things I learned the first night as I stood with Chang on the broad balcony overlooking the valley.
There is something more you would like to know, Mr. Conway?
Please. I want to know, this morning, when you found us, were you setting out on a journey?
No.
Then you came there deliberately to intercept us? How did you know we were coming?
You are very clever. But I should counsel you not to worry your friends with these abstract discussions.
No, they want something more concrete. They want to know exactly how long you're going to keep us here.
There will be certain unavoidable delays.
How long?
The difficulties of the trip. Securing the necessary porters.
How long, please?
You may tell your friends a few months.
But you don't guarantee it. Is that what you mean? For myself, I can't say I shall mind a great deal. It's a new and interesting experience.
In time to come, you may find it even more interesting. Good night.
In the days that followed at Shangri-La, I gave myself over to a rich and growing enchantment. In the petal-colored buildings which dotted the mountain, I recognized priceless treasures of art, paintings and sketches, exquisite ceramics preserved for more than 1,000 years. In the spacious library, I discovered the great literature of the present and of centuries past. One morning, I stood beside a lotus pool in an open pavilion of the lamasery. In an archway behind me, a young girl was seated at a harpsichord. That was very lovely.
You are pleased?
More than pleased. Oh, my name is Hugh Conway.
They call me Lot Sen.
Lot Sen. And do you live below in the valley?
No, I live here.
At the lamasery?
Yes. But as yet I have not attained the full lamahood.
You mean you are a lama?
Yes.
I'm a bit confused. I thought only men could be lamas.
They will tell you when you have been here longer that in the lamahood there are no distinctions between a man and a woman.
But you're hardly more than a child.
Shall I play for you again?
Please.
Good morning.
Oh, Jan.
You are pleased with Lotsen?
She plays beautifully.
She has studied for a great many years.
Oh, how could she? How old is Lotsen?
I'm afraid I cannot tell you.
One night the moonlight fell on Shangri-La, bathing the pavilion in a sea of blue.
I am sorry to disturb you at this hour, but I bring you important news.
Yes, Jan.
I congratulate you, sir. Tonight you are to be received by the High Lama.
As I followed Chang through the lamasery, I knew I was on the threshold of some great discovery. Pattering in front of me, he mounted a spiral staircase to a door which opened noiselessly before us. Chang left silently. As I became accustomed to the gloom, I saw sitting before me a small and wrinkled man. He was motionless, a fading antique portrait in Chinese dress. His face thin and drawn tight over the frame of his skull. And his eyes. I felt dizzy beneath the gaze of those ancient eyes.
You are Mr. Conway.
I am.
It is a pleasure to see you, Mr. Conway. Please sit down. I am an old man and can do no one any harm.
I feel it a great honor to be received by you.
Thank you. Chang tells me you have been asking many questions about our community and its affairs.
I am very much interested in them.
The history of Shangri-La begins rightly in the city of Peking in the year 1719. For it was then that 4 friars set out on a long and perilous journey. They traveled southwest for many months by Lanchao and Nonokawa, facing many hardships. 3 died on the way, and the 4th was not far from death when by accident he stumbled into the rocky defile that today remains the only practical approach to our Valley of the Blue Moon. There, to his joy and surprise, he found a friendly population who bade him welcome, and quickly he recovered his health. His name was Father Perrault. For more than half a century, Father Perrault labored with his hands like any other man, tilling his own garden and learning from the inhabitants as well as teaching them. Then, in the year 1789, news descended to the valley that Father Perrault was dying at last. He bade his friends farewell, but the end was not yet. He lay for many weeks without speech or movement, and then he began to recover. He was then 108.
The ancient Lama paused. What he had told me was not beyond belief, but as he went on, I was held speechless with wonder. It was 14 years later, he told me, that a wanderer found his way to Father Perrault's monastery, an Austrian named Henschel. A great friendship sprang up between the two, and Henschel stayed on. It was then that they had a wild, fantastic dream. Art treasures from Europe and Asia were purchased with the valley's gold and stored at Shangri-La. The library was filled with the great works of the world. And later it was decided to admit travelers and strangers who had lost their way.
Yes, Mr. Conway. Strangers might come as freely as they wished, but with one important proviso.
And what was that?
In 1910, Henschel died. He was killed.
In 1910, but you said he came here in 1803.
Yes.
And he was killed, you said?
Yes. A traveler shot him. There had been a quarrel about some porters. Henschel had just told him of the important proviso that governs our reception of guests. And perhaps you are wondering, my dear Conway, what that proviso may be.
I think I can already guess. We are to stay here all of our lives.
And can you guess anything else after this long and curious story of mine?
It seems impossible. And yet, impossible as it may be, I know that it's the truth.
What is, my son?
That you are still alive, Father Perrault.
In a moment, James Hilton will return to bring you the second act of Lost Horizons, starring Herbert Marshall. Your 1949 Hallmark date book is waiting for you now. It's your friendly Hallmark store's way of saying Happy New Year to you. People who already have theirs say it's just about the most useful little book they ever saw. There's a separate calendar page for every month of the coming year, and space for jotting down things to remember each day. There's also room for names and addresses of people you'll want to remember during each month. And in the back, well, there's one of the most useful features of all, a place for next year's Christmas card list, with a way to check each name to show cards sent and cards received. Yes, a Hallmark date book is so convenient, you'll find yourself referring to it constantly, using it for all sorts of reminders to yourself. Reminders of social engagements, appointments, anniversaries. Reminders to do those thoughtful little things that will mean so much to all your friends and loved ones through the coming year. It's just the right size to slip into your purse or to keep handy beside your telephone. And it's such a beautiful little book. With its camellia-decorated cover, its pink and white pages. Now, to get your Hallmark date book, simply visit the friendly store where you find Hallmark greeting cards and ask for it. It's yours without obligation. Better get your Hallmark date book right away, in time to start the new year right. And now, James Hilton and the second act of Lost Horizon, starring Herbert Marshall.
Conway learned one of the secrets of Shangri-La that night, the secret of prolonged human life. For the High Lama who sat beside him had lived for nearly 2.5 centuries. Conway's coming was no accident, he said. There had been no travelers to Shangri-La for 20 years. Many lamas had died, and the pilot had been sent out into the world to find new persons to take their places.
Then there is death at Shangri-La.
Yes, my son. There are many of us who live no more than 100 years.
And if one of your lamas were to leave the Valley of the Blue Moon?
He would die. His years would fall on his shoulders like a great burden, and he would die. Very soon. An old, old man.
Lutsen.
You have seen the High Lama?
Lutsen, how did you come here?
I was betrothed to a prince of Turkestan. We were traveling to Kashgar to meet him when my carriers lost their way in the mountains.
When did this happen?
I was 18.
18? Then now you are...
The missionaries of Shangri-La found us. They brought us here. I never saw the man I was to marry.
Then in all these years you have never known the meaning of love. Lutsen, is there no love at Shangri-La? She did not answer, but I saw a faint flush rising in her ivory cheek. And then I was aware that someone had entered the pavilion and was watching us. It was Mallinson. One night, At midnight, I was summoned to the presence of the High Lama.
Tell me, my son, have you been happy at Shangri-La?
Quite happy, Father Perrault.
And what of your friends? Will they learn to be content also?
I'm afraid Mallinson is going to be a problem.
He is going to be your problem.
Why mine?
Because, my son, I am going to die.
You, Father Perrault?
Yes, we are all mortal, even here in the Valley of the Blue Moon. But I must feel at rest before I die. That is why I sent for you tonight.
You do me a great honor, Father.
I have waited for you, my son, for a long time. My son, there is a great storm gathering in the world, a black fury which will not spend itself for many years. It may rage till every flower of culture is trampled and all human things are leveled in vast chaos. But I believe that you will live through the storm. I see a new world stirring in the ruins, seeking its lost and legendary treasures. And they will all be here, my son, hidden behind the mountains in the Valley of the Blue Moon. And you will be here to give them to the hopeful world. My son, I place in your hands the heritage and destiny of Shangri-La.
The High Lama stopped speaking. The glow in his eyes faded. Presently it came to me as in a dream. The High Lama was dead.
Conway, I've been waiting for you. I said, what's the matter, Conway? Are you ill?
No, just tired.
Well, pull yourself together, man. The porters are waiting for us.
Porters?
It's all arranged. They're going to take us back to Peshawar. Miss Brinklow and Bartlett are staying.
Who's been making all these plans?
Lutsen. She's with the porters now. She's waiting.
No.
I'm in love with Lutsen. And she loves me. She's coming with us.
Lutsen must not go. It's impossible.
Why? Why is it impossible?
You must take my word for it. Lutsen must never leave here.
Conway, we need your help. We can't manage the cliff without you. I want to get away from this place. And Lutsen, too. She's young. Doesn't she count?
Lutsen is not young.
Not young, you're raving.
It's the truth. Her beauty is a fragile thing that can live only where fragile things are loved. Mallinson, listen to me. I tried then to tell him the secret of Shangri-La. He looked at me as though I were mad. And as I read the disbelief in his eyes, I began to doubt myself. And then Lutsen came to me.
You will help us, please. We need you.
Lutsen, do you wish to leave Shangri-La?
Yes.
You understand the risk? If you leave this valley, you will fade away like an echo.
Oh, you have been listening to the fables of these old men.
You mean?
I love him. If he is not with me, I would die. Here.
For hours I paced the balcony. I could not tell whether I had been mad and was now sane, or had been sane for a time and was now mad again. But always before we were the wistful pleading eyes of the little Manchu girl. That morning, with the wind roaring through the jagged cliffs, we made the descent from Shangri-La.
For weeks they traveled toward the east, Mallinson, the girl, and Conway, and then the porters began to desert. One by one they disappeared, then there were just the three of them, creeping like snails across the desert wilderness. For a long while there were only two. Mallinson had died. At first Conway tried to believe it was the hardship of the journey which had changed Lutsen.
I'm tired. I can go no further.
We must go on, Lutsen.
I'm tired.
That must be the last range of that mountain. You see, Lutsen?
It is too far. I cannot see so far.
One more step, Lutsen. One more step. One more. One more. One more.
No. You must go on alone from here.
were shadows, cascade and drawn, the color of ancient parchment. Her cheekbones, Lotsen.
I am old. I am so old. So old.
They found us on the road to Chongqiang, and we were taken to the hospital there. Lotsen, they told me later. Lotsen died that same night. The oldest woman they had ever seen. The storm of which Father Perot warned me still threatens the world. Not yet has the Christian ethic been fulfilled when the meek shall inherit the earth. But Shangri-La has a heritage to cherish and bequeath with such wisdom as men will need when their passions are spent. Soon I hope I'll return. Somewhere beyond Lhasa, on the high roof of the world, I seem to picture a long plateau running north, and far away a mountain rising white against the sky. I hope to find it again, for this, I think, is Karakal. And beyond is Shangri-La and the Valley of the Blue Moon.
Before James Hilton returns with Herbert Marshall to tell you about next week's show, our first show for the new year, here's a wish for the new year from the makers of Hallmark greeting cards. May your calendar for 1949 be filled with memorable days, and may they all be happy ones. To keep a record of them, remember to get your Hallmark date book. It's waiting for you now. It's yours without obligation from the friendly store where you find Hallmark greeting cards. Now, here's James Hilton.
You've heard the legend of Shangri-La with its abiding message of peace. I hope most fondly that the new year will bring all of us some of that same peace, some of that same freedom of mind and spirit, and above all, some of that same inner happiness. To you, Herbert Marshall, our most sincere thanks for being Conway, and for the warm and sympathetic character you created for us.
Jimmy, there's nothing in modern literature I know of that leaves one with such hope and beauty, and the feeling of future promise, as does the poetry and philosophy you have woven into Lost Horizon. Thank you, Jimmy, for the pleasure I've had. And I'd like to thank your sponsors, the maker of Hallmark cards, for having shown the good taste to have chosen you as their weekly host. But from what I've seen of their fine greeting cards, good taste is a tradition with Hallmark.
Thank you, Bart, for those nice words, for your own superb performance, and for just being with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the old year is fast drawing to a close, and the new year is just about ready to lift its head over the horizon of history. All of us, Dee Engelbach, our director-producer, Lynn Murray, who composed and conducted the music, George Wells, our adapter for tonight, and every one of us who is a member of the Hallmark family hopes that for you the new year will bring rich blessings and the fulfillment of your dearest wishes. Next week, we'll present one of the motion picture's most popular actors, Robert Young, in a great story by Louis Brumfield, MacLeod's Folly. And the following week, Helen Hull's Clay-Shuttered Doors, starring Jane Wyman. So until next year, and that is to say next Thursday, this is James Hilton saying good night and a Happy New Year.
Look for Hallmark cards that are sold only in stores that have been carefully selected to give you expert and friendly service. Remember Hallmark cards when you care enough to send the very best. Herbert Marshall will soon be seen with Margaret O'Brien and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's The Secret Garden. This is Frank Goss saying good night. This program came to you from the Hallmark Playhouse. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Yes, it's Sealtest Variety Theater with Henry Russell and his orchestra, the Crew Chiefs Quartet, the Dean of the Royal Family of the Theater, Lionel Barrymore, and one of radio's brightest comedy stars, Gary Moore. And here she is, our gal Thursday, the singing star of Variety Theater, Dorothy Lamour.
Thank you very much, and hello, everyone. Welcome to our Sealtest Variety Theater. I feel really wonderful tonight, and who wouldn't with two such loyal and talented friends standing by as Lionel Barrymore and Gary Moore.
Well, hello, Dorothy, my child. A happy New Year to you.
Well, thanks, Lionel. I think that calls for a kiss.
Oh, so that's how it works, huh?
Oh, hiya, Dottie, old girl. Happy New Year. Well, how's about a kiss?
Well, Gary, after all, that is...
It's no use, Gary. You can't get away with that sort of thing until you get older.
You know, I think maybe you're right. Hello, Dorothy, my child. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, and a very happy New Year to you.
And that's all? Well, I guess that's that.
That's the trouble with you young fellas nowadays. Why, son, when I was your age, if I saw a pretty girl I wanted to kiss, I just went right up and asked no questions and kissed her.
Well, didn't you get slapped in the face?
Yeah, sure, but I got an awful lot of kisses.
I don't think we have to worry about Gary. He's not so shy.
Oh, that's not true, Dottie. You know, as a matter of fact, I spent a very sheltered childhood. Why, I was 24 years old before I went out with the opposite sex.
Was your mother that strict?
No, she just wouldn't tell me which was the opposite sex. I don't know. I guess I've outgrown my adolescence. I meet so many people since I'm the quizmaster on Take It or Leave It. It's given me more assurance.
Well, how about you, Lionel? Did playing Dr. Gillespie have any effect upon you?
Oh, it certainly did. After portraying a doctor for so many years, I took it so seriously that if a friend sneezed, I said Gesundheit and send him a bill for medicine.
How about you, Dottie, and all those jungle pictures you played in?
Oh, don't remind me about it. For years, I couldn't sit down to dinner unless there was a monkey at the table. But what about that quiz show you're doing, Gary? Does that have any effect on your personal life?
Well, sometimes, yeah. Like I've been going with a girl here recently, and the other night her father called me in and he said, "Young man, for 3 years now you've been kissing, hugging, and smooching with my daughter. I want to ask you a few questions."
Oh, what did you say?
All right, sir. Which category do you choose?
Thank you, Mr. Barrymore, Mr. Gary Moore, and Miss Lamour. It's going to sound like the more the merrier. If you'll stand by for just a moment, we'd like to tell you about a special treat.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
Are you tired of 1948? Or just plain tired? Well, here's a tip on how to feel fine in 49. Drink more milk, at least a pint a day for adults, a quart a day for youngsters. Milk has what it takes to help give you zip and zing. Plenty of health-building vitamins, minerals, and proteins. And how you'll enjoy your good health builder when it's Sealtest homogenized vitamin D milk. It's creamy, rich, and smooth, packed with delicious farm-fresh flavor. Drink lots of Sealtest homogenized vitamin D milk. It'll help you feel fine in 49.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
And now Dottie Lamour, our own pretty baby, steps to the microphone as she bids goodbye to old man 1948. She welcomes young little 1949 and hopes that he'll be a pretty baby.
Everybody loves a baby, that's why I'm in love with you. Pretty baby, pretty baby. And I'd like to be your sister, brother, dad, and mother, too. Pretty baby, won't you come and let me rock you in my cradle of love, and we'll cuddle all the time.
Cuddle all the time.
Oh, I want a loving baby, and it might as well be you. Pretty baby of mine.
Everybody loves a baby, that's why I'm so in love with you.
Ooh, baby, oh, baby.
If you'll only say you love me, we could start right in pitching some woo.
Baby, ah, baby, won't you come and let me rock you in my cradle of love, and we'll cuddle all the time.
Cuddle all the time.
Oh, I want a loving baby, and it might as well be you. Pretty baby of mine. Each year, a bright young comedian flashes across the radio horizon, and I can think of no one who keeps on shining as brightly and as consistently as our first guest star tonight. America's most unpredictable quizmaster, the star of Take It or Leave It, Gary Moore.
Thank you very much, Dorothy, and good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to be with you tonight. And I hope that immediately following the program, each and every one of you will rush right out and buy yourself an Eversharp pen.
Oh, now, wait, Gary, you're on a different program tonight.
Huh? Excuse me. Friends, rush right out and buy an Eversharp pen and fill it with Sealtest ice cream. This will come in very handy when you're writing to people named Cone. What, Dottie? Oh, no. Honey, I want to wish you a somewhat belated Merry Christmas.
Well, thanks, Gary. You know I love Christmas, and I'm really sorry it's all over.
Yeah, I am, too, but I don't know, at least it'll give my bankroll a rest. I don't know, there seem to be so many occasions for buying presents nowadays. There's Mother's Day when you go out and buy a present for Mother. Then there's Father's Day when you go out and buy a present for Father. Then there's Christmas Day when you go out and buy a present for everybody. And I'm inventing a brand new holiday that I think is going to be very popular. I'm going to call it Nothing Day. You just sit there and hold on to your money.
You can count me in on that one. But anyway, Gary, I do want to thank you for coming to visit me on this, our last program of 1948.
Oh, Dottie, my little flower. And I use the word flower in reference to your stems. I'm happy to be here, really I am. And if you don't mind, I would like to take advantage of your microphone to perform an annual duty of mine. The presentation of the annual Gary Moore Awards to the outstanding people of the past year.
Oh, I'd be thrilled. These are the outstanding people of 1948?
Yes, Dorothy, 1948. The year that will forever go down in history as the year between 1947 and 1949. Seems to make sense. But, Dorothy, as I look back over the 12 months just past, it seems to me that we should be most grateful to the men of science. Men like Albert Einstein, J. Robert Oppenheimer, Dr. Stafford Warren, and above all to the greatest scientist of them all, McMeechan Motzitrotz.
McMeechan Motzitrotz?
Yes, Dorothy, he was the man who finally discovered why a watermelon has so many seeds.
Now, there's a contribution to mankind. Tell me, why does a watermelon have so many seeds?
Well, because it can't go... Very simple when you think about it, you know.
Well, science also made great strides in producing artificial products. I read where a scientist down south actually got milk from a peanut.
No.
Yes, sir, milk from a peanut. What do you think of that?
He must have used an awfully low stool. Enough about science, Dottie. How about your own racket, motion pictures?
Ah, yes, this cinema.
In 1948, the movies were noted for many great pictures and many great performances. And above all, it was a year of strange titles. I particularly like those pictures with the one-word titles like Shocked, Lured, Pursued, Possessed. And next year, David O. Selznick will present the greatest of them all, Pooped. co-starring Tyrone No Power and Andy Hartley. And in my opinion, the award for the best movie of the year must go to that super epic, Riding the Range. A 3-bell picture. One of us kids has got to go back to school. And our feature award of the evening goes to that sterling young actress, Miss Injured Bird Dog, for her memorable portrayal of Schnook in the picture Jewel in the Smock. We are honored to have Miss Bird Dog with us tonight, and she will reenact that famous part for us now. Go ahead, Miss Bird Dog.
I promise never to leave you again, Chumley. I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise.
And so we pick Miss Bird Dog as the most promising actress of the year. My survey also shows that in 1948, the movies made more extensive use of radio advertising than ever before. All over your radio dial, you could hear dramatic advertisements of coming pictures, such as this announcement concerning the picture, The Three Mrs. Vandelbaums.
I'm Cynthia. I didn't want to lose Rodney's love. I'm Imogene. I didn't want Cynthia to have Rodney.
I'm Rodney. I didn't want to make this picture in the first place. And I like that one. It's so true, you know. And in conclusion, we would like to make an award to one of the behind-the-scene workers in motion pictures. And for this honor, we have chosen this year Miss Gertrude Armentrude. Miss Armentrude, will you tell us what your contribution was to the cinema?
Certainly. My contribution to motion pictures was the care and promotion of better diction.
Of better diction. In other words, you feel that proper speech is important in film work, huh?
Well, naturally. Is it not your conviction that the proper inflection and pronunciation are a necessitation in the creation of the characterization? Or have you no ambition to follow tradition?
Yes, I love to follow tradition. In fact, I feel you must follow tradition to capture the rapture of culture. Don't you? But in closing, Miss Armentrude, have you any little thought to leave with us?
Yes, a little poem that I wrote.
A poem? Well, isn't that nauseating? I apologize. How does it go, this poem, Miss Armentrude?
I thank you one and all for your very kind attention, and my appreciation is more than I can mention. In taking my departure, just please remember this. I am very fortunate to have met enough with you.
And on this note of culture, friends, I close my Gary Moore Awards for 1948. And if each of those people whose names I have mentioned tonight will get in touch with me immediately following the program, I will be more than honored to give each of them a solid gold... It's funny, there seems to be a page missing here. Well, good night, friends. Thank you very much.
10 years ago, they said prosperity was just around the corner. 2 years ago, they said television was just around the corner. But this morning, I heard the crew chief say, love is just around the corner.
Love's just around the corner, any cozy little corner. Love's just around the corner when I'm around you. I'm a sentimental mourner, I couldn't be forlorner when you keep me on a corner just waiting for you. Venus de Milo was noted for her charm, but strictly between us, you're cuter than Venus.
And what's more, I've got all.
Let's cuddle in a corner, any cozy little corner. round the corner, and I'm around you.
When it comes to New Year's resolutions, most of us have the same trouble. We make them and break them. But there's one resolution that never has and never will be broken. I'm talking about the Sealtest Pledge, a pledge to you of top quality and purity. You can depend on this when you buy Sealtest milk, because it must meet exceptionally high standards for purity and quality before it can bear the famous Sealtest seal. So ask for Sealtest milk every time. And for extra goodness, smooth, creamy-rich flavor, make it Sealtest homogenized vitamin D milk. Always.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
There are certain words that are synonymous to the word theater, such as glamorous, exciting, thrilling. But I can think of only one word that for years has embodied all these adjectives, and that word is Barrymore. And here he is, Mr. Lionel Barrymore. Well, Lionel, the Sealtest magic carpet is out, ready to whisk us back to a New Year's Eve of many years ago, long before you were mayor of the town. Won't you climb aboard?
After you, my dear.
Carlton, will you set the scene, please?
Right, Dottie. It is New Year's Eve at the turn of the century. Our hero is calling for his best girl to take her out for the evening. He rings the bell. The door is opened. The best girl's father speaks.
Happy New Year, son.
Happy New Year, Mr. McClinton.
Yeah, let me take your hat and coat. Muffler? Umbrella?
Gloves?
Rubbers? Earmuffs? Oh, by the way, young man, how's the weather out?
Like a summer's night.
Like... Well, that's good. I better tell Dorothy you're here. Dorothy?
Yes, Papa.
Lionel is here.
Papa, can I see you for a minute?
Yes, dear. What is it? Would you excuse me for a moment?
Oh, I'm nervous, Papa. I don't know exactly how to tell you, but...
You can tell me, daughter. After all, I'm your papa.
Oh, I can't find my bustle.
You can't find your bustle?
No.
I never saw a girl lose things the way you do. A bustle. If you didn't have your head attached, you'd lose that, too.
Well, I suppose I'd better go down. Lionel, good evening.
Good evening, Dorothy.
May I offer you a drink, Lionel?
Well, I don't know.
Sarsaparilla?
Oh, no, I have to drive.
Well, how about a lemon ice?
Oh, that would be just splendid. Isn't New Year's Eve exciting?
Just think. Tonight will be the beginning of a new century. I wonder what the next 50 years will bring.
Well, I understand that a fella just built an auto the other day called the Apperson Jackrabbit that goes 15 miles an hour.
15? Well, I don't believe it.
And not only that, but there are reports that one fella got his car up to 60 miles an hour.
Where was that?
At a place called Hollywood and Vine.
Oh, Lionel, dear, look at the time.
Yes. I think we'd better get going. I have a handsome cab waiting outside.
Are we really going to Reisenweber's, Lionel?
Yes, my dear, yes. I understand they have a dinner there now of shrimp cocktails. oysters on the half-shell, crab consommé, filet mignon, asparagus, hollandaise sauce, cherries jubilee.
Are you sure you can afford it, Lionel?
Well, it's New Year's Eve. And what good is a man if he can't spend 65 cents?
Oh, there's Reisenweber's now.
Driver, here we are.
Yes, sir? Whoa, McKinley.
Here you are, driver. 50 cents.
Oh, thank you, sir. And here's your change.
Keep it. Buy yourself a drink.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I don't drink.
Well, then buy your horse a drink.
Sorry, but he's on the wagon, too.
Oh, Lionel, it's so exciting being here at Reisenweber's with all its glamour. Lionel? Do you know what orchestra is playing here?
It's a new one that was just formed last week.
Really? What's the name of it?
Phil Spitalny and his one-girl orchestra.
Oh, isn't it fascinating to think that we're sitting here and it's almost 1901?
Yeah.
That in 50 years from now, our parts will be played by Betty Grable and Dan Daly.
It's almost 12. In just a minute, it'll be New Year.
It's New Year's Eve, Lionel. 1901. Just think, a new century is born.
Just think what the new century will bring forth. Invention, science, ideas. Great men will be born. Nations will rise and fall. I wonder what they'll be saying 50 years from now.
I think I know what they'll be saying.
What?
All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. For years, folks all over the world have been singing Auld Lang Syne when they want to bid farewell to the old year. Well, there's another word which not only means goodbye, but also hello. And so, in farewell to 1948, and in greeting to 1948-49, I can think of no song more fitting than
Aloha, oh, aloha, oh, thou charming one who dwells among the bowers. One fond embrace before we now depart, until we meet again.
Donnie, honey, thanks so much for having me over. It was an awful lot of fun. And before I go, let me wish you and everybody a very happy New Year.
Thanks, Gary. Please come back again soon, and Happy New Year.
You know, Dorothy, I've seen a lot of years come and go, and I've heard a lot of people saying the world is going to pop. Well, most of those people are gone, but the old world is still spinning, except for some growing pains every once in a while. She's getting better all the time. And I got a hunch that 1949 is going to be the beginning of a grown-up world filled with grown-up people who are ready to work and live in peace from here on.
Aloha, aloha, thou charming one who dwells among the bowers. One fond embrace before we now depart, until we meet again.
Sealtest brings you season's greetings and some of the best eating you ever enjoyed. For instance, vanilla fudge nut ice cream, a scrumptious dish from Sealtest. Creamy vanilla ice cream chock full of crunchy nuts, with ribbons of rich chocolate nut fudge winding all through it. Something different and delicious. Here's another special Sealtest treat, strawberry dessert cakes. Mighty handy because they're individual servings, and mighty tempting, too. A delightful combination of cake with strawberries, covered over with rich Sealtest vanilla ice cream, sprinkled with toasty macaroons, and topped to festive perfection with a dash of real whipped cream. Your family's sure to enjoy Sealtest strawberry dessert cakes. Treat them to Sealtest vanilla fudge nut ice cream, too. And make this resolution for a taste-happy New Year. Always
get the best, get Sealtest.
And here again is your mistress of ceremonies, Dorothy Lamour.
Lionel Barrymore and Gary Moore, thank you so much for signing our guest book at Sealtest Variety Theater. And what better to start the new year than knowing that your appearance tonight contributes to a fine cause, the establishment of the American Federation of Radio Artists Welfare Insurance Fund. And so until next year, when our guest stars will be that man with the low IQ and the high whooper, Ed Gardner, and one of Hollywood's outstanding film stars, Cornell Wilde, this is Dorothy Lamour saying keep well.
Excuse me, Dottie, for breaking in, but how about that royal welcome you want to extend to the newest member of the Sealtest family?
Well, you didn't think I was going to forget that, did you, Carlton? Especially when there's another Dorothy involved. So to my good friend Dorothy Dix, who next week will begin her daytime radio show, Dorothy Dix on the Air, all the gang at the Sealtest Variety Theater would like to say the best of luck in the world, and we'll be listening. And now, until next week, this is Dorothy Lamour saying keep well, keep happy, and keep listening.
Lionel Barrymore returns to the air next week as star of his own radio program, Mayor of the Town. Mr. Barrymore appeared through arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the all-star Technicolor musical Words and Music, based on the lives and music of Rodgers and Hart. Continuity for Sealtest Variety Theater is written by Howard Harris and Sidney Zelinka, and direction is by Glenn Hall Taylor. Tune in next Thursday at this same time when Sealtest Milk and Ice Cream again presents Sealtest Variety Theater, starring Dorothy Lamour, and as our guests, Ed Gardner and Cornell Wilde. Sealtest Incorporated and associate companies are divisions of National Dairy Products Corporation. This is Carlton Cadell speaking.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Now, as gunshots echo across the wind-swept, snow-covered reaches of the wild Northwest, Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice, the breakfast cereal shot from guns, present the challenge of the Yukon. It's Yukon King, swiftest and strongest lead dog of the Northwest, blazing the trail for Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police in his relentless pursuit of lawbreakers. One king, one whiskey. Gold discovered in the Yukon. A stampede to the Klondike and the wild race for riches. Back to the days of the gold rush. With Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice, bringing you the adventures of Sergeant Preston and his wonder dog Yukon King as they meet the challenge of the Yukon. When you get up in the morning, there's nothing like a breakfast you really go for. Like, for instance, delicious Quaker Puffed Wheat or Quaker Puffed Rice with milk or cream and fruit. These giant, ready-to-serve grains of wheat or rice are premium grains. They're shot from guns, popped to perfection, exploded up to 8 times normal size to make 'em crisp and tender. Quaker puffed wheat or Quaker puffed rice shot from guns is good for you, too. Makes a thrifty deluxe family breakfast. Tomorrow morning, start the new year off with a bang. Enjoy this breakfast treat. Quaker puffed rice or Quaker puffed wheat. Frank Weaver and his young wife Amy had staked a small claim on the Bonanza Creek a few miles from Dawson City. Frank had worked hard at his claim, but as time went on and the winter approached, he became more and more discouraged. He had persuaded Amy to come to Dawson from Seattle, taking the small bank account they had to make the trip and to pay expenses until the claim began to pay off. But so far, the money had dwindled, and the take from the claim had been extremely little. One evening at supper, after Frank had put in a hard day working the claim, Amy tried to encourage him.
Winter is setting in fast, Amy. I thought by this time I'd have struck enough pay dirt to carry us over.
We'll get through somehow, Frank. Well, I'm sure that before long you'll make a strike.
We've been telling ourselves that for several months, honey. But I'm beginning to think this claim just isn't any good.
Now, don't think that. Others near here have made their claims pay. And sooner or later, I know you'll make this one pay. Have some more soup, dear?
Oh, thanks, because I'm not very hungry. Anyway, we've had that same warmed-over soup for the past 2 days. Oh, what's the use of fooling ourselves? I was a fool to bring you up here. Use what little money we had to do it.
Don't talk that way, Frank. After all, my place is with you, no matter where it might be.
Yeah, but you don't seem to understand, honey. We've run out of money. Food is high. With the winter breaking off...
Frank, perhaps we could get credit at the trading post to carry us until the claim does pay off.
Yeah, I've thought of that, but we're not very well known. And they know I haven't been getting much of anything from the claim here.
It wouldn't hurt to ask anyway. Why don't you take the dog team right now and go into Dawson to the trading post?
Well, if they should give me credit and I couldn't pay later, we'd lose a dog team. And the claim, too.
You've got to face it, dear. We certainly can't keep the dogs if we can't feed them. Or ourselves. It's a chance we'll have to take. And then hope for the best.
Well, all right, honey. I'll go to the trading post and see what I can do. If they won't give me credit, well, I guess the only other thing will be to try to sell what we have and get back to Seattle somehow.
Frank hitched up the dog team and set out for town. Later that evening, he stopped in front of the trading post.
Oh! Oh there!
Frank stood for a moment, hesitating. He could see several men standing around the big stove inside as he gazed through the window.
Well, here goes. If I don't get credit, we're sunk.
Hi there, mister. What can I do for you?
I want to get quite a lot of supplies.
Sure. Now, if you just give me your list, I'll get them together for you in a jiffy.
But first, I can't pay right now. If you'd trust me until my claim pays off better...
So that's it.
But you'll get your money just as soon as the claim...
Now, look, lad, it isn't that I'm hard-hearted or anything like that, mind you. But the first year of the rush, I got took for plenty by Chichacos who promised to pay me off when they made a strike. Having myself to think of, too, I've made it a policy not to stake anyone who doesn't have a paying claim.
Look, my name's Frank Weaver. My wife and I have Claim 20 up on Bonanza. We have a dog team and a sled and a cabin up there. If you could see your way clear in our case...
Sure, and I know where number 20 is located. It's one of them secondary claims back off the creek on the hillside.
That's right.
Nary a one of them claims there have paid off, my lad. Sorry as I am to say it. It'd be better for you to cash in for the little you'd get on your dog team and cabin right now and save yourself a lot of grief.
But winter's setting in, and we couldn't get out of the territory even if we wanted to, especially if I sold the dog team.
Sure, and a good many will find themselves in the same predicament, Weaver.
Well, I feel sure if you let me have the supplies, I'll make that claim pay off.
Sorry, my lad, but I just can't do it. 'Tis several useless cabins on bad claims I have on my hands already for unpaid accounts. Now, if a bit of grub to last you the day would help, I'll let you have it. Welcome.
I'm not asking for charity. Just forget the whole thing, mister. I'll find a way to get the supplies I want, one way or another.
discouragement in his heart and his mind torn with frustration and unreasonable anger, Frank left the trading post and approached his dog team.
It's no use.
For a few minutes, Frank stood near his sled, dreading to start back home with the disheartening news. As he stood there, undecided what to do, a heavy-set man came out of the trading post.
Oh, Weaver.
What?
My name's Jess Steele.
Hi. How do you know my name? I don't remember meeting you before, Steele.
Well, you haven't met before. I happened to overhear you talking to Mike Quinn, the storekeeper.
Oh.
And from what I heard, I figure things are kind of tough for you right now, aren't they?
That's right.
Well, if you think you'd be interested in making some cash, maybe I can help you do it.
Well, just what would I have to do to get the cash you mentioned?
Well, I'd like to hire you and your dog team for a few hours tonight, that's all, but I'll pay you well for it.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to hire me and the dog team for?
Well, there's a friend of mine over in that cafe. I want you to take him and me a few miles up Wolf Creek a little later tonight. We have some business up there with an old prospector friend of ours. What do you say?
Well, it's late.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. We'll pay you $50 to take us there and back.
All right, I'll do it.
Good. Meet us in front of the cafe in about, half hour. I'll see you then.
Shortly after Frank and Steele separated in front of the trading post, Sergeant Preston and his dog King came up the street and entered.
On, King.
Well, now, it is good to see you, Sergeant. And King, too. You haven't been around the post for 2 weeks or so.
No, Mike. King and I just got in from Selkirk. I find I'm out of coffee, so I dropped over to get some.
Coffee it is, Sergeant. Yeah. You sure that's all for now?
That's all I can think of, Mike. My credit's still good?
That it is for anything in the place. Say, sure, just a short while ago, a lad came in asking for credit through the winter.
Huh?
Sorry I was to have to turn him down.
Anyone I know?
Well, that I can't say. His name was, let me see. Oh, yes, Weaver. Weaver, he said it was. Frank Weaver. Had a claim up on the Bonanza. One of them hillside claims that never seemed to pay off.
I remember a young fellow and his wife who have a claim up there. Seems to me that was his name.
Like as not, it's the same chap. Dark, nice looking. Said him and his wife have number 20 claim.
Yes, that is the same fellow.
Well, my conscience has been bothering me since he left. Poor lad, he was that upset, he went out and slammed the door behind him.
See?
He said they were out of money, but he still seemed sure he'd make a go of it if they could get through the winter. Sure, and he looked so desperate when he left, saying he'd get supplies one way or another. It set me to thinking that it did.
They must be very hard hit.
Yeah, that's what I think. Do you think you'll be heading out that trail anytime soon, Sergeant?
Why, Mike?
Well, now, if you do, stop by and tell Weaver I've changed my mind.
Oh?
To come on in and get the supplies he needs on credit. The look on his face will haunt me all winter if I don't give him the credit he asked for.
I'm glad you changed your mind, Mike. I promise you won't lose by it. King and I will go up there in the morning and give them the news.
Good. That'll be a relief to my mind.
I'm sure it'll be a relief to them, too. Good night, Mike.
Good night.
Come on, King.
Meantime, Jess Steele had entered the cafe and sat talking to a short, stocky man.
Yeah, I've got a perfect setup for pulling that job you spoke of earlier, Shorty. That is, if it'll be worthwhile, like you said.
Look, like I told you, I happen to know that old prospector Jim Nason up on Wolf Creek has got plenty of gold right there in his cabin. I heard him boasting about it in here today.
Yeah, it ought to be worth going after, then.
Yeah, it would be. But how do we make a getaway without a dog team, Jess? We try to buy one, people know we must be fixing to leave Dawson.
Don't worry, I have that all fixed.
Oh, yeah? How?
Hey, look, a newcomer, Chichaco, named Weaver, was in a trading post a short time ago trying to get credit. He was turned down and got upset. As he went out, he said he'd get supplies one way or another.
Well?
I followed him out and made a deal for him to take us up Wolf Creek with his dog team and sled. Told him we'd pay him $50 if he'd go tonight.
$50?
Yeah, don't worry. He's dope enough to think we're going up to see a friend on business. You'll have a surprise coming when we get out there. Come on. He's going to meet us out front, and it's just about time.
Yeah, but if that fellow Weaver finds out what we're going there for, Jess...
I've got everything planned out, so you don't have to worry about a thing. Now, come on, let's get going.
Jess Steele and his friend Shorty left the cafe and found Frank Weaver waiting outside with his dog team as he had promised. The three men set out along the well-beaten Wolf Creek Trail. The cold, gusty wind swirled the light, dry top snow in white, dusty clouds behind them as they moved along, obliterating any tracks they might have made. Sometime later, they stopped before a remote cabin.
Oh there. Oh. Well, Weaver, this is a place. Our business is rather private, so I wonder if you'd mind waiting outside for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Why, I guess I can stand it. If you're sure you won't be any longer than that.
Ah, we won't. Don't worry.
Come on, Shorty. Let's get inside and get this over with.
Frank watched as the two men went to the cabin and entered without knocking. For a few minutes, he heard nothing but the wind. Then his attention was attracted by the voice of an old man raised in fear and protest inside the cabin.
What's that?
A moment later, Frank was startled by the sound of a muffled shot.
That shot was inside the cabin. I better go see what happened.
As Frank reached the door, it suddenly opened. Steel barred his way, but not before he saw a sight inside that gripped him with sudden fear.
Get back to the sled, Weaver.
Hey, that old man lying on the floor. You shot him.
That's right, we did. Now, get back to the sled and make it fast.
What is this, anyhow?
Do like Jim says, or you might get a bullet, too, and I'll get going.
Put the sack of gold that's on the blanket on the sled, Shorty.
Sure.
You're right on the sled. I'll follow along behind the Chichaco and have my gun handy.
Hey, now I get it. You took that prospector's gold and then murdered him.
You're getting a little smarter now, Weaver. Now start the dog team and continue straight ahead.
But that's going away from Dawson. I have to get back. My place is on Bonanza Creek.
Don't be stupid. You're not going back. We're heading for Selkirk, and you're going with us.
After the threats you made in the trading post to get supplies one way or another, they'll blame you for what happened when you turn up missing. Now get going.
We'll continue our story in just a moment. Say, fellas and girls, it won't be long now. I mean until the new year 1949 is here.
I am here.
Huh? Great Scott. Where did you come from?
Well, I guess I shouldn't really be here yet.
Why, you're a baby. Gosh, you haven't got any clothes on. That is, hardly. I mean, except for that big ribbon you're wearing.
See what it says on it?
Sure do. It says 1949.
That's right. That's who I am.
Oh, so you're the new baby New Year.
Right.
But you're a bit early, aren't you? Roughly by about some 6 3/4 hours.
I was just checking up.
Oh.
On New Year's resolutions. Made any?
Me? Oh, you bet. And I was about to tell all the fellas and girls about a resolution everyone ought to make.
What's that?
It's to eat a good, nourishing breakfast every morning the year around.
Oh, that's a swell idea.
It's so easy to keep, too. Especially if you include big heaping bowlfuls of swell-tasting Quaker puffed wheat or Quaker puffed rice with milk or cream and topped with fruit.
Sounds good.
It is. Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice are shot from guns to make them crisp and tender. Yes, these king-size premium grains are actually exploded up to 8 times normal size to make them bigger and better tasting. And what's more important, both delicious kinds furnish added food values of restored natural grain amounts of vitamin B1, niacin, and iron.
You mean they're good for you?
You bet. And for variety, you can eat Quaker puffed wheat one day, Quaker puffed rice the next.
Boy, I can hardly wait. 1949 is going to see me trying them.
And fellas and girls, don't you be missing out. In 1949, eat Quaker puffed rice and Quaker puffed wheat. The ready-to-serve breakfast cereal shot from guns. Ask Mom to start the new year off with a breakfast treat that can't be beat. Get next to those big red and blue packages of Quaker puffed rice and Quaker puffed wheat. Now to continue our story. After killing an old prospector and stealing his gold, Jess Steele and Shorty forced Frank Weaver to take his dog sled and go with them toward Selkirk. Early the following morning, Sergeant Preston took King and went as he had promised to deliver Mike's message to the Weavers. He stopped at their cabin.
King. Good morning, Mrs. Weaver.
You're Sergeant Preston.
That's right.
Oh, I know you've come to tell me something has happened to Frank. Please, Sergeant, is it...
Well, just a minute, Mrs. Weaver. I came here to see your husband to bring him a message from the trading post.
But Frank isn't here. He didn't come home last night. I'm so worried I've been almost out of my mind.
Why, I'm sure he's all right, Mrs. Weaver. He was a bit upset, I understand, because Mike Quinn at the trading post refused him credit, but...
Poor Frank, that was his last
But
hope.
Mike changed his mind. I came to tell you and Frank that you can have all the credit you want.
Thank heaven. But Frank, where can he be?
Well, don't worry, I'll try to find him. Perhaps you'd better get your wraps and come to town with me. You could wait at the trading post until I do find him.
Yes, I couldn't stand waiting here any longer. I'll get my things and be with you in a few minutes, Sergeant. Do come in.
Thanks. One King.
I won't be a minute.
Let me help you with your parka.
Thank you. We ran entirely out of money and supplies.
Oh.
Poor Frank was so terribly upset about it all.
And so I heard. When you get to town, Mrs. Quinn will give you breakfast, and then when Frank's found, you and he can get supplies and bring them out here. Oh, Mrs. Weaver, may I have something of your husband's, a glove or something like that?
Well, yes, of course. Here's a glove of his. But
well, just in case I have to trail Frank, King can get the scent from this glove. Now, we'd better get started. Come along, fella. You'll be warm enough under the blankets on the sled. Here, let me help you.
You're so very kind. Thank you.
Now, try not to worry. I'm sure everything will be all right. Up front, King. On, King! On!
Sergeant Preston took Amy Weaver to the trading post and left her with Mrs. Quinn. Then, leaving his dog team outside, he and King went through town making inquiries about Frank Weaver, but learned nothing. Finally, Preston stopped in at the constable's office.
Hello, Sergeant. Hi there, King.
Good morning, Jim. Do you happen to know a young fellow named Weaver has claimed 20 up on Bonanza?
Oh, I've seen him once or twice, Sergeant. Why?
He came to the trading post last night. When he was refused credit, Mike says he looked desperate. And as he went out, said he'd get supplies one way or another. He didn't get home last night.
Oh, that's not so good, is it?
No, it isn't, Jim. I'm worried about him. His wife's quite upset, too. They seem like a fine couple. Frank isn't the sort to do anything out of the way, but when a man's desperate...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Can't figure out where he might have gone, Jim. Oh, I just thought of something.
What?
He was at the trading post last night, and he probably left his dog team out front. I have one of his gloves. King can get the scent from that. And we can go to the trading post and see if King can pick up Weaver's trail.
Say, that's a good idea. I'll come along with you. I'd like to see King in action.
All right, glad to have you. Let's go, Jim. One, King.
A short time later, Preston and the constable stood in front of the trading post. Preston held out Frank's glove for King to sniff. Then he spoke a command.
Find him, King. Find him, fella.
As the two Mounties watched, King put his nose to the frozen ground and circled around, trying to find a scent that was similar to the one on the glove. The intelligent dog seemed to know what was expected of him, and he moved in an ever-widening circle. Then suddenly he barked eagerly, ran a short distance, then stopped and looked back, still barking.
He's found Weaver's trail, Jim.
Well, what do you know?
After him, fella. Find him, King. On, King! On!
King headed up the main street. Reaching the cafe, he circled a few times, then started in the direction of the Wolf Creek Trail. Preston and the constable hurriedly followed King with the dog team, and finally approached the old prospector's cabin. King had stopped there in seeming puzzlement. Then, as the two men came along with the sled, the great dog turned toward the cabin and sniffed at the door.
King started past this cabin at first, but now he's sniffing at the door.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, I'd say that Weaver went on up the trail, but that he stopped here at this cabin first. I'll go in and ask about him. Come on.
Doesn't seem to be anyone inside, Sergeant.
We'll take a look anyhow. Jim, look there on the floor.
What? This is an old prospector named Mason. He was said to have quite a bit of gold here in this cabin. Yeah, he's done for, all right. Shot through the heart.
Jim, well, this is something I hadn't even thought of. That Frank Weaver would commit a crime no matter how desperate he became.
He did it, all right. But we can't prove it until we catch him and make him talk.
Feel sorry for his wife. A terrific blow to her.
Yeah, I guess it will at that.
Look, Jim, you better go back to town, take my dog team and sled, and carry back Nason's body.
All right, Sergeant.
Now, don't say anything to anyone about our suspecting Frank Weaver. He and I will follow his trail until we get him and bring him back. Come on, fella.
All during the night and most of the following morning, Steele and Shorty forced Frank Weaver to mush steadily over the frozen trail that led to Selkirk. Frank carried no gun, and he racked his brain to think of a way out of his predicament. But the two killers were constantly on the alert, and one or the other was always behind him with a gun ready for instant use. Finally, they reached a deserted cabin on the side of the trail and stopped to warm up and rest. It was late afternoon when they made preparations to hit the trail again.
Good thing we found that dried venison someone had cached in here, Shorty. We'll take what's left of it along with us.
Yeah, we'll need it before we reach Selkirk.
Look, Steele. You've got this far. Why not take my dog team and let me make my way back alone? My wife's there waiting for me. By the time I get back to Dawson, you can be far away.
Hey, you hear that, Shorty? Weaver wants us to let him go back and tell the Mountie what he knows.
Yeah, that's a hot one, Jess.
But all you have is that small supply of dried venison. It won't be enough for the two of you, much less for three. Selkirk's still a long way from here. What's more, the dogs will need some food, too, or they'll give out.
Hey, something to what you say, all right.
And you won't make me go on with you?
No, I guess we won't.
What's come over you, Jess? The Mounties will be looking for Weaver when they find that prospector. But if he gets back to telling the truth...
Who said he was going to get back? I'm not that crazy.
But you just said...
I said I decided not to take you along with us. In other words, dead men tell no tales, Weaver.
Oh, now I get what you mean, Jess.
Look, let me go. I promise not to say a word. Think of my wife.
You can think of her till Shorty gets the venison ready to pack on the sled. After that, you won't do any thinking. Or talking.
I'll take the venison out of the sled right now.
Oh, look. If you shoot me, it'll be cold-blooded murder. I don't carry a gun.
Save your whine until Shorty gets back inside. He'll enjoy it.
Hey, Jess, hold it. Somebody coming along the trail. Looks like a Mountie to me.
A Mountie? We'll have to do some fast thinking. Shorty, when he gets here, you answer the door, see what he says. I'll stand back here and have the gun pointed right at the door. If he comes in, I'll let him have it.
All right. It's too bad we only got one gun between us.
One's enough, don't worry. Now, Weaver, stand over there to one side so he won't see you when Shorty opens the door away. Get over there.
All right.
Now let him come on. We'll leave two of them behind when we set out for Selkirk.
Meanwhile, Sergeant Preston, with King running just ahead of him, approached the cabin. He saw the dog team waiting out front, and taking his gun in his hand, he approached as he saw King snip his way right to the door.
Oh, hello. I didn't expect to see a Mountie.
You live here?
Sure do.
I suppose that's your dog team.
Well, yeah. Just getting ready to go after more supplies.
I'm looking for a young man by the name of Frank Weaver. Tall, rather dark. You seen him?
No, can't say I have. Nobody's been by here for several days.
You lie, mister. Weaver
What?
did come by here when he entered this cabin.
Now, if that's the way you feel about it, why don't you come in and have a look?
I think I will. Step aside.
Look out, Sergeant. Look out, get him. No, you won't. Oh, now, get that Mountie.
Even as Frank Weaver, jumping in front of Jeff Steele's gun, took the first bullet intended for Preston, the great dog King, without waiting for a command, lunged forward. And as Steele raised his gun for another shot, grabbed the killer by the arm and dragged him to the floor.
I'll get you, Mountie.
At the same moment, Shorty grabbed for Sergeant Preston's gun arm. But Preston, twisting aside, lashed out with a smashing blow to the jaw.
You killed me. Get him away.
Come, King. Easy, fella. Watch them, boy.
They planned to kill you as you came in.
Oh, my God.
Then they were going to kill me.
You took the bullet meant for me, Weaver. I'll fix that up. Just hit your right shoulder.
They killed an old prospector. Made me come with them.
He lies. The whole thing was his idea.
I'll take all three of you back to Dawson City. After we get there, I'm sure we can find out the truth about everything.
Putting Frank on the sled, Preston handcuffed the other two together and started back to Dawson. The next afternoon, after a long session in the constable's office, Preston, with King and Frank, entered the trading post.
Frank! Oh, Frank, is everything all right?
Yes, Amy.
We finally got the truth from the two killers, Mrs. Weaver. I'm glad to say Frank's been exonerated.
Thank heaven I knew he wasn't guilty.
I felt sure of that, too, when he took the bullet intended for me. If he had been guilty, he wouldn't have done that.
Sure, it was a mighty fine thing for him to do that, it was. Did you tell him the news, Sergeant?
What?
Yes, Mr. Quinn, he did. I feel sure I'll make good at the claim.
I heard something else today that makes me think you will, my lad. Two claims right next to yours have struck it rich.
What? Amy, did you hear that?
And with yours in the middle of both of them, you can be sure there's gold there.
Oh, isn't it wonderful, Frank?
It sure is. You know, King's fast action at that cabin sure saved the day. You'd have had your hands full with the two of them, Sergeant.
Well, he's certainly a wonderful dog. To think because of him, Sergeant Preston was able to trail you and reach you in time.
Did you hear that, boy?
That he does. Sitting there with his ears perked up and sort of grinning like.
King's happy, all right, Mike. You see, he knows the case is closed.
In just a moment, Sergeant Preston will give you a preview of Monday's program. Well, sir, fellows and girls, tomorrow is the first day of a new year. And right here is someone who wants to say something to each and every one of you. Here is Sergeant Preston himself. And naturally, I don't have to tell you that King is here, too, right beside him.
Fellows and girls, King and I want to wish you a happy new year. May the coming year be the finest, the happiest ever for you and your family. How about it, King? That's King's way of saying for the both of us, Happy New Year.
And Sergeant Preston, that goes for me and all of us here. And for the Quaker Oats Company, makers of Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice. Yes, from all of us, a Happy New Year to one and all. These radio dramas, a feature of the Challenge of the Yukon Incorporated, are created and produced by George W. Trendle, directed by Fred Flowerday, and supervised by Charles D. Livingston. The part of Sergeant Preston is played by Paul Sutton. They are brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this same time by Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice, the breakfast cereal shot from guns. Listen Monday when Sergeant Preston and Yukon King meet the Challenge of the Yukon in the adventure King Takes Over.
This was one time I regretted having strong, fast dogs. You see, a couple of killers who broke out of jail stole my sled and dog team to make their getaway. This was a mighty thrilling chase. The speed of my own dogs almost spelled disaster for me.
Be sure to hear this exciting story Monday. Till then, this is J. Michael wishing you goodbye, good luck, and good health from Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice. So long. For a delicious hot breakfast, eat Quaker Oats. The giant of the cereals is Quaker Oats. Yes, the giant of the cereals is Quaker Oats. Delicious, nutritious, makes you feel ambitious. The giant of the cereals is Quaker Oats. Say, boys and girls, do you want to be a star someday in sports and activities? Then start on good Quaker Oats breakfast tomorrow. Because nourishing oatmeal gives you more growth and endurance than any other whole grain cereal. Still less than 1 penny a serving. Quaker and Mother's Oats are the same. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting.
Up the coast with 2 murders behind me. Telling all to a nice white-haired old lady when the clock struck 12.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The House That Jacqueline Built.
They say the end of an old year and the start of a new is a good time to take stock. To stand back and give yourself the once-over. Do a reissue on that tired list of resolutions. But for a private detective, that routine only means tallying up the times you've dirtied your hands on someone else's murder or dirtied your brain with their schemes. So you let the hide on your heart grow a little thicker, pull the part of your mind that feels things a little farther back into its shell, and maybe plan on later hunting up a cup of kindness or two someplace. But even that has a price tag on it these days. So there was work to do and a fee to collect before I could pick up the tab on an evening's fun.
Hey, you ought to
Detective?
That's not a fair question. Won't you sit down?
Fantastic. I tell you, I'm going crazy with this horrible trick of fate.
What's the matter? What's going
The
on?
house, it's gone. It's vanished.
What
And
house?
all the papers with it, years of research, months of grueling work in the jungles, volumes of precious notes, all gone. Whisked away from the very heart of a teeming city, an entire house.
Now, look, if you just sit down and tell me who you
I
are,
see no object. I must have action. I must locate.
Who are you?
Professor Felix Piper.
What's all this talk about jungles and research?
Botanical research, tropical herbs in South America, years of it all for nothing now because the house has disappeared.
Look, you said that several times. Now, look,
You investigate things. You've had experience. I want to hire you now. I go to where a house should be, a house in which I myself have stood. And what do I find? A vacant lot, a hole in the ground. And all I would...
Professor, take it easy.
My heart.
Here, come on over to the couch and lie down. Take it easy, will you?
Yeah, well, thank you. Oh, I'll bear it. It's all been such a shock. Oh, Stuyvesant's sudden death. The long trip to get our papers and then to find the house gone.
Yeah, I know. Now, look, if you just lie there a few minutes until you feel better, we'll start over. A little closer to the beginning.
That's all right.
Oh, Professor, what's the matter? What's happened here?
Well, today the house has disappeared, and the professor's collapsed trying to tell me about it, and Oh. Who are you?
I'm Professor Piper's assistant.
What do you assist him with?
Stephanie, oh, I'm glad you got her. Yes, don't worry. It's nothing. I'll be all right. But let's not waste any more time. You've got to find out what happened to that house.
Please, Professor Piper, don't excite yourself. Let me explain to the detective.
Marlow, Philip Marlow.
I'm Stephanie Fraser.
Hello.
Please, the house died into the paper.
All right, Professor, all right. Mr. Marlow, I presume we got as far as telling you that for over a year we've been in South America, in the interior of Brazil, studying tropical herbs.
Yeah, part of that got in there somewhere, I think.
Yes, of course it did. Tell him about the house.
One step at a time, Felix.
Now, look, Professor, I've got something here that'll do you the world of good. Me, too, I think. Now, try this. Take your time about it.
Yes, I will.
Mr. Marlow, could I speak to you in the other room for a moment?
Of course.
I'll be right back, Mr. Piper.
Yes, but hurry.
Volatile, isn't he?
Yes, but a brilliant partner. As I was saying, Mr. Marlow, we've been almost completely out of touch with civilization for over a year.
Really? You'd never know it.
Beauty products before miracles. Please, Mr. Marlow, let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
Professor Piper's collaborator and partner, Maxwell Stuyvesant, caught fever and died 3 weeks ago.
Where was this?
Brazil.
Where the nuts come from? Nothing, huh?
Look, Mr. Marlow, they had worked together for years, and all their notes and papers were kept stored at Stuyvesant's place here in Los Angeles. We came here to get that material.
And the house was gone.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Certainly is.
We all thought Maxwell Stuyvesant's wife, Catherine, was living in it. She owned it.
In her name?
Yes. Maxwell actually owned nothing. He didn't want to. He was gone all the time.
That didn't fit too well with Catherine, huh?
Right. She wanted Stuyvesant to stay home, and he always promised her that someday he would, and they'd live a happy life together. But, well, she was a young woman, impatient, I guess.
Yeah. Where's she now?
Well, one of the neighbors, an old woman, said she thought she remembered hearing that Catherine went to Nebraska.
Nebraska?
And that's all we know. Professor Piper and I are stumped. We came to you because we want action and want it fast. Will you help us?
Well, the whole year's been screwy. There's no reason why this should bother me. Tracking a runaway residence through the metropolitan wilds of Los Angeles didn't sound so tough. So after Stephanie gave me the address 8840 on Orange Drive and told me that she and the professor could be reached at Villa 3 in the Worcester Gardens, I got in my car and drove out Orange Drive to where a house numbered 8840 should have been. I found that said house had been moved out 6 months ago, and in the middle of the night, too. But where, why, or who had done the job, nobody knew. Until I got around to a Mrs. Elma Lathrop, whose house backed the Stuyvesant place from across the alley. She blocked her front door with a waistline and said she'd never heard of Rye Crisp. Gave me an eye as warm and as sympathetic as an ice cube.
Remember that? Huh. I should hope to tell you I remember. Craziest thing I ever saw. Them men working all day and all night, getting that little house up on rollers and out of there. I'd like to know what all the rush was about.
So would I. You wouldn't happen to know where they took it, huh?
No, I wouldn't. That Catherine Stuyvesant wasn't a very sociable type person. But if that's the way she wants to be, it's all right with me.
That's good. Now, look, I don't suppose you'd know who she sold it to.
Nope.
What company did the moving?
Oh, wouldn't I, though? It's the Gilligan Wrecking and Moving Company, and believe you me, the name fits. Them clumsy oxes. In such a rush, they backed a big truck over my pomegranate tree. A beautiful, full-grown tree in the pink of health. Did I make them pay?
I'll bet.
Now, you listen.
Have I a choice?
I tracked that outfit down and made them shell out through the nose for that. Was I burned?
Well, bully for you. Now, look, where is the Gilligan Outfits office, Mrs. Lathrop?
At Adams and Rampart Street. 410 Rampart.
410, huh?
But say, what's going on anyway? Why are you asking me all these questions?
Well, frankly, I'm a pomegranate fancier myself, Mrs. Lathrop. Happy New Year.
You want something?
Yeah, this is 410 Rampart, isn't it?
That's correct.
Well, your sign outside says Blukman's Novelties. Are you one of them?
Ashtrays, paperweights,
Okay.
silver baby.
Okay, honey, okay. Now, look, I'm looking for the Gilligan Wrecking and Moving Company. I was told they had this place 6 months ago.
That's right. But they're out of business now. They went broke last September. Boss left town in a hurry.
How do you like that?
Not much. Mr. Gilligan owed everybody wages, including my boyfriend. He used to work for Mr. Gilligan. That's how we met Bat.
Bat?
They were moving out as we moved in. It's a small world, huh?
Getting smaller all the time. Now, look, I'd like to talk to your boyfriend, Miss,
Bessie.
Bessie.
Well, Bat lives real close to here. The Beekman Room.
Oh, thanks, Bessie. What's Bat's last name?
Battenschlag.
Who?
Battenschlag.
Yeah, anybody'd know that.
Well, you better just call him Bat.
All right.
And, tell him to drop around, will you?
I wish I was a tender apple blossom or sunshine.
I wonder who wrote those lyrics.
I wish it was the sunshine and rain. Yeah, who is it?
Name's Marlow. I want some dope on a job the Gilligan Company did, Bat.
All right, just a minute.
Well,
how did you get to me?
Bessie. Oh. By the way, she said for you to drop around.
Oh, yeah? Dumb dame. Don't I every night? Come on in, buddy. Excuse the robe. I was in the shower.
Sure. Now, look, Bat, were you working for Gilligan 6 months ago?
Yeah, why?
You remember moving a house from 8840 Orange Drive?
8840 Orange Drive.
Yeah.
Let's see now. Oh, yeah, that one, too. That was the screwiest deal I ever saw.
Where'd you move it to, do you remember?
All the way to San Pedro. Big hurry-up job. The boss kept saying we were racing the weather. Nobody could figure it.
Racing the weather? Why?
That beats me. We set the house off down at the end of Front Street in the Harbor Salvage Company yard.
Harbor Salvage in San Pedro, huh? Tell me, Bat, was the house empty?
Well, certainly. You don't think
No, Bat. I mean the furniture.
Oh. Well, why? What's all the fuss?
Well, some people are interested in locating that house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
How come?
Oh, I got a big hunch it didn't sit very long where we left it, buddy. The Pacific Ocean was only 6 inches from the back door.
I'm beating eyes, mate. What's on your mind?
Well, if you're the head man of Harbor Salvage Company, a house is on my mind.
That's me. But I don't want any more house jobs. I did one this year, and that's plenty.
6 months ago, house delivered by Gilligan?
That's it, mate. And I did a masterpiece, if I do say so myself. Sure wouldn't chance it again, though. Too shifty.
Never mind your career. What happened to that house?
What happened? Why, I loaded it on that old woman's barge.
What old woman?
As I was saying, I loaded it on that old woman's barge, battened her down, ship shape in the last 2 days, good sailing weather, and sent her out to sea.
You mean that house left here on a barge?
That it did, mate. Bound for the Golden Gate in the upper arm of San Francisco Bay.
Oh, fine.
Little shrimp fishing town in the backwater there called Wilson. If I remember right, it's on San Pablo Bay, about 15 miles north of Berkeley.
Now, do you mind telling me who the old woman was who owned that barge, Nias?
Not a bit. Kindly old soul she was, named Jacqueline Beatty. Went aboard with the house and waved goodbye from the front door. She pulled out. All smiles, too. What's the matter, son? You look like a deckhand who's lost his sea legs.
What had started 3 short hours ago as a checkup on an L.A. resident had evolved itself into a chase up the coast after our houseboat, which was a project I distinctly did not want to jump into without first a nod from my client. In fact, I was ready to scuttle the whole business. So I found the phone and called Villa 3 at the Wilshire Gardens.
Yeah, hello. Hello?
That you, Matthews?
Yes.
This is Marlow.
Oh, hiya, Phil. What can I do for you? But make it snappy, will you? I'm up to my ears. Hey, wait a minute. Phil, look, you called up here expecting someone else to answer, didn't you? Who?
A guy named Felix Piper, maybe.
Nice fit. What's the connection?
Client, what fit?
Ex-client, Marlow. He's it. Somebody jacked him. Yeah, with a knife. A very fancy knife, like some Indians in Brazil use, the boy told me.
Oh.
You better drop in here. Where are you now?
San Pedro.
What are you doing down there?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't believe it, Matthews. Really, you wouldn't.
Hey, look, Mooney. Yeah, see if we can get all of that bell out now.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Marlow.
Hi, Matthews. Any progress?
Too soon. Anyway, I'm counting on you for that. Come on inside, have a look.
Okay. When did it happen?
A couple hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
What was his dodge, anyway? We found a club membership card lists him as a botanist. True?
Yeah, as far as I know. Spent a lot of time in research in Brazil.
Where the nuts come from?
Nothing.
Oh. Well, there's your client, Phil. Professor Felix Pfeiffer, and somebody nailed him right between the shoulders.
Hey, Matthews.
Hmm?
Something's awful haywire.
What do you mean?
That's not the man who hired me.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, one fellow who made a New Year's resolution years ago not to get married certainly saw it blow up with a bang a couple of weeks ago. A fellow by the name of Andy, of Amos and Andy, opened his mouth at the wrong moment, and there he was, married to the wrong woman. Listen for Amos and Andy and Andy's Bride on most of these same CBS stations tomorrow night. Now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The House That Jacqueline Built.
When I told Detective Lieutenant Matthews that the crumpled form at our feet identified as Felix Piper, and the Felix Piper who had hired me were not one and the same, he arched a single eyebrow slowly. When I told him the rest of the story, both eyebrows practically leaped from his forehead. So all in all, it was 30 minutes of steady gab, my solemn word that what I had said was nothing but the truth, and a blunt reminder that a private detective's license is revocable before I was free to go back to my apartment on Franklin, while the police went to work. That made it exactly 4 p.m., when, key in hand, I reached for my front door lock, just as it swung in and away from me.
Come in, Mr. Marlowe.
Wow, a globe-trotting Stephanie. How'd my place care to get on your map, baby?
Please, don't Joe come in.
Thank you. Lovely apartment you've got here.
Mr. Marlowe, please, this is no time to be funny.
Why not? Everything else plays funny. Your lost L.A. house turns up floating on the outskirts of San Francisco.
What?
A screwball botanist from South America who's maybe also a killer wants a bunch of hocus-pocus
Also a
papers.
killer. What do you mean, Mr. Marlowe? Felix Piper didn't kill Corday.
Corday. That's his name, huh? You get around, don't you,
Yes,
kid?
Martin Corday. He was on the floor of my villa when I got back. That's why I came here. The janitor let me. and I
Yeah,
thought
let's
I was
not change the subject. This Corday, who is he? Or was he?
scheming, ruthless man we knew in South America. An importer.
Wait a minute. An importer wants a botanist paper? Come on, baby. Tell me the truth.
Mr. Marlowe, there are no papers.
Oh, that's great. You mean that all this about the house is phony, make-believe?
No, it's true.
But?
But no papers. Only jewels.
Only Oh, no.
Rubies, Mr. Marlowe. In a little pouch. $30,000 worth hidden in the house.
Where in the house?
The fireplace. Behind a brick somewhere on the right-hand side. You see, those rubies belong to Felix and that Maxwell Stuyvesant I mentioned. Now they belong to Felix alone. They were for their old age.
The expression's nest egg.
So they could carry on their work.
Hmm.
You don't believe me?
No, not quite, no. And for two very valid reasons. One, why'd you lie in the first place and say it was papers?
Because we didn't know if we could trust you.
And now with a man dead, you have to, is that it?
No, I don't have to, but I do trust you, Mr. Marlowe.
It may not be mutual, Stephanie.
What do you mean?
Well, if I buy all this, the jewels, Piper and Stuyvesant's unique retirement plan, Corday posing as Piper to some way cut in, there's a new hooker.
Which is what?
Corday is murderer. It should now be you or Felix Piper.
No.
Then who?
Corday's partner. A swarthy-looking little man. I don't know his name. I last saw him with Corday in South America. You see, the original plan was that I come up here ahead of Felix. But he was too anxious. He couldn't wait. He followed almost at once.
So?
So, somehow or other, Corday and this swarthy man found out about our plans and decided that Corday should pose as Felix and as for their scheme.
And what?
Well, there must have been a double cross. Corday probably trying to do away with the swarthy man, but getting done away with himself instead.
Where's Felix Piper now?
In a second-rate hotel on Santa Monica.
Phone number there, do you know it?
Phone number? Yes, I have it right here in my
All
suit.
right.
Crestview 8 something. Yes, here. Crestview 84144.
4144. Okay, here, you talk to him, Stephanie. My nerves won't take the chatter.
What should I tell him? Mr. Felix Piper, please.
Now, tell him for the time being we're going to skip the police. But you and I are going up to San Francisco on the next plane and then out to a place called Wilson to look for a houseboat. No less rubies. Yeah, also tell him to meet us up there at the Crystal Auto Court. You got that? It's a place I've stayed at a little beyond Berkeley. On the road to San Pablo Bay.
All right. Stephanie, Felix. One moment.
Yeah. Tell him to stay clear of swarthy men tonight. Especially small ones. They're dangerous. It was 2 hours and 30 minutes later when Stephanie and I drove into the quiet fishing village of Wilson on San Pablo Bay that hugged the bend of the sloping shoreline like it was afraid of falling in. Our best bet for information would be the local gas emporium. So I drove my rented car in at a round-shouldered one-pump station. Something freckled and gangling with a shock of flame for hair pulled himself out of it, then arms and legs working independently, wobbled over, braced himself against the car.
Gas or just information, folks. Don't be ashamed. Everybody from out of town gets lost in Wilson. It's so big.
Made it funny. Look, if that's the case, we're loading up right away, Red. We're looking for a houseboat.
Yes.
Well, then you better try the water.
This boy kills himself, doesn't he? Look, Red, we're in a hurry. This houseboat belonged to a lady named Jacqueline Beatty. No more jokes, huh?
Yeah, don't worry. There's nothing funny about that. Screwy old widow. Believe me, she's sad.
Sad? Why?
Well, about 6 months ago, she took every cent she had, went down to L.A., bought a house, and bought a barge, and put them both together and come back here.
To do what?
To sit. To do nothing. All day and all night long. She never leaves.
You know why?
Nope. Neither does nobody else. Except that her husband was an artist, painted sea pictures, so she likes it around the water. But she's nuts, I tell you. Acts like the place is, acts like it's made of gold.
Gold?
Now, look, Red, tell me, how do I get there? We're reporters from L.A. doing a story on her place.
Oh, newspaper people, huh?
Yeah, reporters usually are, boy.
Well, that's different. Smart aleck. It's 1 block straight ahead, then right, and down to the bay.
Thanks, Red. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it sure is.
John went ahead and 3 right and were down to where the town and the bay trickled up to meet one another. We saw it. A white 3-room cottage afloat surrounded by fishing boats and assorted barges. The front door opened at our knock. Not Tugboat Annie, nor the scraggly pioneer woman, rifle-cradled in bony arms. Just anybody's grandmother, and under a white lace shawl at that.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Well, yeah, I believe so. You're Mrs. Beatty, huh?
That's right. Mrs. Jacqueline Beatty.
Oh, well, I'm Philip Marlow. Mrs. Beatty, this is Miss Stephanie Fraser.
How do you do?
We're reporters from L.A.
Reporters?
We were going through Wilson here when we heard about your houseboat and how you brought it all the way up from Los Angeles.
You had a particular reason for wanting this house, Mrs. Beatty?
Oh, my, yes.
What was that?
Well, that's a long, long story, my boy.
I see. Well, tell me, Mrs. Beatty, the house is exactly as it was in Los Angeles, huh?
Oh, to a T, Mr. Marlow. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yes, we'd love to.
Fine. Then, shall we say lunch tomorrow?
Well, Mrs. Beatty, we're on our way back to Los Angeles now tonight.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
But, well, you see, I simply have to tidy up some before company. Well, perhaps another time.
Well, I think lunch tomorrow will be splendid, Mrs. Beatty.
Of course.
Good. Then until midday tomorrow, we'll have a buffet for the 3 of us in front of the fireplace. Good night, Miss Fraser.
Good night,
Mr. Marlow.
Good night, Mrs. Beatty.
Well, is it just a sweet old lady?
I don't know.
But when will we?
Well, about midday tomorrow. Come on, let's get back to the Crystal Auto Court and your boss. Felix Piper out and alone is a combination that worries me plenty.
No, Mr. Marlowe. Mr. Piper hasn't shown yet, but he should any minute now. He called a half hour ago from someplace in Berkeley and said he was coming out here in a taxi. Well, now, let's see. A single cabin for Miss Fraser here, number 6. And a double, number 11, for you and Mr. Piper. Right, Mr. Marlow?
Yes, that's right, Mr. Crystal.
Okay. Now, Miss Fraser, if you'll come along with me, I'll show you the way. Be back in a minute, Mr. Marlow.
I'll just tidy up Phil, then I'll come back here and wait with you for Felix. I'm so worried.
Yeah, I know. He'll be all right once he's with us.
I hope so, Phil.
Oh, Mr. Crystal, can I call L.A. on this phone here?
Oh, sure, Mr. Marlow. Long distance is 110.
Operator. Yeah, I want to call Los Angeles, person to person. Party I want is Detective Lieutenant... What? DeLay. Oh, yeah, New Year's Eve. Well, look, honey, I'd like to put the call through anyway. Never mind.
Marlow! Help! Over here! Here's the please! He got away, Mr. Marlow. And he killed her. It was a man.
Get hold of yourself, Crystal. What did he look like? Crystal! Take it easy, fella. Hold on tight. Did you see him? Was he small, swarthy?
I'm not sure, Mr. Marlow.
Think, Crystal, think. What did he look like?
Well, he was kind of short. Maybe swarthy. It was also fat. I couldn't tell.
All right. Come on away from us. We'll go back to your office. Now, listen to me carefully. You phone the police. I'm going to a houseboat on the San Pablo Bay where I think we'll find a small, swarthy man. We'll push a nice old lady around without batting an eye.
But why?
About $30,000 worth of rubies. After I'd met Felix Piper and told him what had happened to Stephanie and brought him up to date on everything else, I slammed my right foot down hard on the accelerator and kept it that way until we were back at San Pablo Bay out of the car and running toward Jacqueline Beatty's houseboat, where I figured the swarthy man who seemed to know every move might show. But there I was wrong, because Jacqueline was all alone, safe and sound and surprised.
Why, Mr. Marlow, you weren't expected till midday tomorrow. And that girl isn't
But she won't be with us, I'm afraid, Mrs. Beatty.
By the way, we're not reporters, Mrs. Beatty. The lady in question is dead. And so is another man.
Oh.
And all because of $30,000 worth of rubies in a pouch that's behind one of the bricks in that fireplace.
Yes, and I'm going to find them right away. They've got to be here. This poker should sound them out in a hurry, yes. What's that, you?
Mrs. Beatty.
We've been too long.
The news of these rubies doesn't seem to surprise you. Hey.
What is it, Mr. Marlow?
A hunch, Mrs. Beatty. Get out of the way.
A gun.
Yeah. For a man named Corday.
What is it, Marlow? What did you say?
Corday. As in Martin Corday, and it looks like I was right.
Yes. It may not do you any good. Right shoulder.
Oh, Mr. Marlow, is he going to die?
Not until the state gets its hands on him.
Yes.
You see, Mrs. Beatty, he's killed twice tonight, right, Corday? Come on, if you want an ambulance, talk.
Yeah, they had it coming on, and Stuyvesant was double-crossed by Piper on his deathbed. Stuyvesant wanted the rubies to go to his wife, Catherine.
Hold it, Mrs. Beatty. Go on, Corday. The real Piper was a crook, huh? Decided to get the jewels himself. Is that it?
Yes, but he was also dumb. No. Stephanie, his secretary, crossed him for a pretty deal with me. It was all her idea. Going to you for help with me posing as Piper. Oh.
Go on.
Oh, Mr. Marlow.
Go on, Corday.
Yes, and Stephanie decided to double-cross me.
After you stabbed the real Piper because he got up to L.A. in your villa sooner than expected, huh?
Yes, but she couldn't cross me. I was following her all the time.
She didn't phone you from my place?
No. I was outside your door then, and she was talking to a number she made up. You're lucky you handed her the phone when you did. If you hadn't, she would have shot you. It was all lies. The swarthy man included. There isn't one.
Mr. Marlow, he's...
Just unconscious, Mrs. Beatty. I'll get an ambulance.
Yes, hurry. I'll show you where the phone is.
Yeah. After you tell me about the jewels, huh? The rubies, Mrs. Beatty. Your lack of surprise about them being hid in the fireplace, I mean. How come?
Well, I found those 6 months ago when I bought this house from Catherine Stuyvesant in Los Angeles. By the way, Mr. Marlow, how did you know that man was Corday?
Fireplace, honey. He went to the wrong side. It was worth a shot in the dark.
Wait. The phone's over there. You know, I noticed the loose brick on the right-hand side of the fireplace the moment I walked in. You see, I built this house with my own hands.
Really? Why'd you move it up here, honey?
Because my husband and I spent our honeymoon in this house. And we found our happiness here at San Pablo.
Oh. You also found the rubies and sent them back to Catherine Stuyvesant?
Yes, Mr. Marlow. Well, Happy New Year,
Mr. Marlow.
Happy New Year, Jacqueline. By the time I said goodbye to Jacqueline and walked outside, the first sun of 1950 was glinting across the waters of the bay. 1950. Another chance for Marlow and for the world. I hope we both do better with it this year.
Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character, star Gerald Moore, are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and are written for radio by Robert Mitchell and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Lois Corbett, Howard McNear, Georgia Ellis, John Daner, and Parley Bear. Detective Lieutenant Matthews is played by Larry Dobkin. The special music is composed and conducted by Richard Orant. Be sure to be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
This time each carried a torch, and each was burned by it. The heel, the hero worshiper, and the hard-bitten blonde. And all because of a woman already 2 days dead.
Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell.
Yeah, danger is my assignment. I get sent to a lot of places I can't even pronounce. They all spell the same thing, though, trouble. But when I walk into the commissioner's office, I don't realize this assignment's going to have me asking, when is a friend not a friend? Answer, when he's tickling your ribs with a gun.
Well, here he is, Commissioner.
Thanks, Ruth. Morning, Steve.
Commissioner?
I suppose I fooled you right out of a big deal as usual?
No, this time it was strictly business. I was getting caught up on my paperwork.
What?
Honest, I was bringing my files up to date.
Yeah? How many telephone numbers make up a file?
That's what I thought.
I have your papers at my desk when you're ready, Steve.
Thanks, Ruth. Well, what's the deal, Commissioner?
Take a look at this map of Eastern Europe, Steve. This country right here.
What about it?
Politically, it's being torn apart. There are two major parties at odds with each other and a well-organized minority who'd like to keep them at odds.
Pretty familiar pattern.
Yes, it is. But right now, it's vital to Western Europe and to us that this particular country be united into a democratic form of government. And there's only one man who can unite that country.
Don't tell me it's me.
No. Dr. Corvell.
Dr. Corvell? But he's no politician.
That's the point, Steve. Dr. Corvell has no political affiliations. He's that country's leading citizen, a scholar, a scientist, a man of stature.
Yeah, he could be just the man for the job.
As you know, he's been living in this country since the war, but now he feels it's time to return to his own country. There's to be a vital meeting of the legislature over there in 3 days, a meeting that could determine which way the country goes. If Corvell could pop up at that meeting, it might turn the trick.
So what do you want me to do, escort the good doctor over there?
He's already left.
What?
Yeah, the day before yesterday.
Well, then I don't get it. Why call me on the deal? What more is to be done?
I'm calling you that, Steve. Dr. Corvell realized that the organized minority would try at all costs to prevent him from reaching his destination. So he's traveling incognito. Plans to reach and enter his country secretly.
But I still don't see...
His plan was to go directly to the house of a friend in the capital of his country. This morning we found out that this so-called friend is actually a member of the minority.
What?
Yes, it's a death trap for Dr. Corvell. Now, Steve, you've got to intercept Corvell before he reaches that man's house.
Brother, have you any idea where Corvell is now?
We know only that he was planning to contact a person named Dravik in the town of Rizma, across the border from his country. Now, Steve, get over to Rizma. Try to find Dravik. And above all, Get to Covell before the opposition does. And remember, from now on, every minute counts double. Well, that's it. You've got your assignment. Good luck.
The National Broadcasting Company is presenting Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy in the role of Steve Mitchell, colorful, two-fisted government agent. At all those places of the world where danger and intrigue walk hand in hand, there you'll find Steve Mitchell on another Dangerous Assignment.
Sure, I've got my assignment. Just a simple matter of getting to Dr. Corvell before the opposition does, and incidentally trying to keep the opposition from getting to me. A real cinch. Well, it's Tuesday when I get to Risma. I've got to find Dravik in a hurry, but I haven't any idea where he is. There's only one hotel in town, so I check in, and then I ask the desk clerk about Dravik. He says he's never even heard the name, but he does remember a distinguished-looking man with white hair staying at the hotel overnight a couple of days ago. Probably Dr. Corvell. I turn away from the desk and start across the lobby, and then I spot a very familiar face. It's a foreign agent named Marzak. I've tangled with him plenty in the past, and I've no desire to renew the acquaintance now, so I start to duck into the bar, but he sidles in front of me.
Well, my old and dear friend, Mr. Mitchell.
Hello, Marzak.
My, such a cold greeting to give to a man who possesses such admiration for you. After all the times we have been together in the past, Mitchell, even though on opposite sides of the fence, I should think that you might be a little more cordial.
Look, you mind getting out of my way?
The man is in a hurry. Such a pity, such a pity. I thought perhaps we might find a quiet corner and talk over old times together.
I said get out of my way.
But what destination could possibly be so important that you could not spare a few minutes for an old, let us say, colleague?
I'm going into the bar, if that's okay with you, Marzak.
Splendid. Thank you for your invitation. I accept with pleasure. Some drinks, much talk, a perfect way to spend an evening.
Look, for the last time I didn't invite you. I'm drinking alone, and if you don't...
Drinking alone? What a barbarous custom. But then I suppose it is to a certain extent fitting that a man should have a farewell drink in solitude.
Farewell drink?
Yes. I understand you do not like this town of Risma. I cannot say that I blame you.
Oh?
I understand further that there is a train leaving here in half an hour and that you plan to be on it. So I decided to help you by reserving a compartment for you.
Now, that's real sweet of you, Marzak. But what if I decide I like it here?
In that case, I understand it is quite possible you may remain here permanently.
You're quite an understanding guy, aren't you?
Yes. And I believe you are also. Goodbye, Mr. Mitchell. Come again when you cannot stay so long. And please extend my very best regards to your commissioner.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon, sir.
What?
I overheard you ask the desk clerk a few minutes ago about a distinguished-looking man with white hair.
What about it?
I believe you are referring to Dr. Corvell.
Was I? Who are you?
Bisco, a friend of the doctor's. And I am worried about him.
What do you mean?
His return is the one thing which can unite our country. But I feel he is in great danger. You see, he plans to go to the house of a friend of his in our capital. I now have reason to believe that friend intends to betray the doctor.
I see. Yeah, Bisco, you're right.
That is why I crossed the border to Risma here, to try to intercept the doctor and warn him, but I was too late. He has already left.
Yeah. You ever hear of a guy named Dravik?
Dravik? No. Mitchell, the situation is very serious. We must find Dr. Corvell.
First, I've got to find Dravik. And I can't get very far doing that with that character Marzak on my tail.
Yes, I saw Marzak talking to you. I know all about Marzak. He is a dangerous man.
He just invited me to leave town. If there were only some way I could shake him, might give me time enough to locate this Dravik.
Wait. I think I have an idea.
What is it, Bisco?
See, Marzak is across the lobby watching us. He undoubtedly knows you have orders to find Corvell. And also, undoubtedly, Marzak has orders to stop you.
So?
So if we were to conclude our conversation and I were to slip furtively out the side door and get into my car, Marzak might assume I had information concerning Dr. Corvell.
Yeah, he'd probably follow you, all right.
I will make sure he follows me a long way. Long enough to take him off your trail for an hour or two.
Okay, Bisco, it's worth a try. Go ahead. Bisco slips out the side door and Marzak starts after him. So far, so good, but I still don't have any leads on Dravik. I head for the bar to figure it out and where to start, and pretty soon a girl eases over to my table.
Hello.
Hi.
I am Sally. Are you lonely?
No, I'm Steve, but sit down anyway.
Oh, thank you.
You want me to buy you a drink, I suppose?
I figure that will do for the moment.
Well, that's a switch. Here.
Thank you.
Waiter, the rice pudding.
Very good.
Look, Sari, this is all very pleasant, but as far as making an evening of it, I've unfortunately got something else on my mind right now.
I know.
Huh?
You're looking for Darvick.
What? Yeah, I am. Do you know him?
Oh, yes, I'm quite a good friend of Darvick.
Where is he?
First, let me ask you, why do you wish to see Darvick?
Well, that's something I'll talk to Dragnet about.
I see. Well, Darvick is not interested so much in people's motives. Darvick is most of all interested in knowing whether there is money in it.
Okay, you can tell him there's dough in it for him.
How much?
Plenty.
Very well.
You'll take me to him?
No, that is not possible.
What? You mean we've just been making idle conversation?
I would not call it that.
Why can't you take me to him?
Because Darvick is not a him.
Not a... You're Dragnet?
Yes. Sorry, Darvick.
Well, what do you know? So I break my back trying to find you, and it ends up with you finding me.
Yes, and I would say it is quite a find.
Oh?
But I still would like to know why you wish to find me.
Well, first, let me ask you, how do you fit in this deal with Dr. Corvell?
Deal? Dr. Corvell? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, unless it has something to do with my rat line?
Your what?
Oh, that is what they call it, the rat line. You see, Stephen, there are many people in countries behind this, what you call iron curtain, who wish to be elsewhere. So, for a considerable price, I smuggle them out.
I see. Does your rat line ever run in reverse, Sari?
You too.
What do you mean, me too?
Most people are breaking their backs trying to escape to the west these days. And now twice in 2 days I find men who wish to go east. I think everybody's suddenly crazy.
Wait a minute. This other man who wanted to go east, was he a tall fellow, distinguished looking, with white hair?
Oh, that is the man.
Dr. Corvell, all right.
He told me he wanted to go to the capital city of the country to the east of here, and he was willing to pay a great amount of money. So I, as you say, reversed my rat line. I took him across the border just before dawn.
Look, Sari, I've got to catch up to him. He's going to collect a bullet if I don't.
I see. Well, there is always the chance you will collect a bullet along the way. But for you...
And for money.
The two most convincing arguments I can think of. Very well, we will try to catch up with this Dr. Corvell. Here's an address. You meet me on the corner in front of this place in 2 hours. We will start then.
I head back to my hotel. Then, as I open the door to my room, I see I've got company. There's a local cop on one side of my room, and on the other is a woman I've never seen before, but right now she's acting like we were long-lost enemies.
There he is, officer.
Huh?
That is the one. I insist you arrest him at once.
Hey, what is this?
This woman claims you stole her jewels.
Stole her jewels now?
I am
look.
positive of it, officer. This man is Hugo Brisac, the notorious gem thief.
Hugo Schmoogo. I'm Steve Mitchell from the United States, officer, and if you'd care to look at my credentials...
You see, officer, as I told you, this thief frequently poses as an American agent.
I'm afraid you'll have to come with me.
But this woman's mistaken.
Unfortunately, I found her jewels in your suitcase.
What?
So you must come with me.
Wait, I get it now. Anything to delay me, huh? Look, lady, I don't know who you are, but I sure know whom you're working for.
Arrest this man!
You will come quietly.
Sure, officer. Real quiet. Sorry, Buster, but I haven't got any time to waste right now. Oh, drop dead. I run downstairs and duck out the side door. The opposition's gag had almost worked. By the time I could have talked my way out of the frame, it had been too late to catch up with Dr. Corvell, of course. Well, now there'll be the little matter of the cops on my tail. Great. I roost behind a few assorted ash cans in an alley for a couple of hours, and then I go to the address Sari gave me. She's waiting for me in the shadows.
Well, the notorious jewel thief.
Yeah. I see the news travels fast, Sari.
I believe the police are quite anxious to find him.
I don't doubt it.
So, I understand now why you wish to escape from this country.
Look, I'm trying to find Corvell. That jewel business was a frame.
Oh, too bad.
What's too bad?
You would make such a nice jewel thief. It gives you color.
Oh, color, yeah.
I like you, Stephen.
I think you're peachy, too. Now let's get going, huh?
Oh, very well. Come on. Here is my car. We will drive as far as the border.
Okay. What happens then?
Well, when I get you across the border, one of my men will take you the rest of the way.
Hey.
What's the matter?
A guy running across the street at us. Get going. It's Marzak.
Oh? Who is Marzak?
The guy who rigged the jewel frame on me. Hey, he's trying for the running board.
You will not get away, Mitchell. Oh, yes, Marzak. No.
Oh, very neat, Stephen.
Listen, sirens. Marzak must have tipped the cops I'd be around this neck of the woods. This is just wonderful.
Oh, are you always in trouble?
Look, I'm to trouble what honey is to a bear. Now, come on, keep that gas pedal down to the floor. It's no good, Sari. 3 miles out of the city and they're still on our tail.
We are not gaining any speed.
Neither are we, Optimist. And a half a mile's not enough lead. The cops behind me, ahead of me, the border, and who knows what. Lucky Mitchell, right in the middle again.
The river is just around the bend, Stephen. Then our problems will be over.
What do you mean? Hey! A turn!
Hang on, Stephen.
Huh?
Oh.
Hey, what are you stopping for? You crazy?
Get out.
Look, what's the big idea?
I see the river below the road.
Huh?
I place the car in first gear. And then I pull the hand throttle out a little, turn the wheel, and get out. Goodbye, car. Quick. Now, into the bushes. This is fine. Now, we just wait while they go by.
Hey, pretty neat. Looks like you're an old hand at this, Sari.
Oh, it is not hard to learn.
But isn't running a car into the river sort of expensive?
It'll go on your bill.
Oh, I see.
Here they come. So, now we go across country to the border. It's only a kilometer or two.
Lead the way. Once we get across the border, how far is it to the capital?
Oh, about 30 kilometers. Just across the border, we will meet a farmer with a horse-drawn wagon. He will take you to the next village. There, a man will be waiting for you in an automobile to take you the rest of the way.
I just hope to get there in time to keep Dr. Corvell from walking into that trap at his friend's house. Hey, wait a minute.
What is it?
Quiet. Somebody heading this way.
Probably the border patrol. Get down.
Yeah, I see them.
Perhaps we had better get closer together.
Yeah, Like I said, you seem to be an old hand at this.
Like I said, it is not hard to learn.
Hey, quiet. Here they come. Okay. I guess we can go now.
Do you really want to?
Oh,
Is it not much nicer here?
Much nicer, believe me, but I still have a job to do.
Oh, too bad.
Why?
Oh, I was just thinking we could run such a beautiful rat line together, Stephen.
I don't doubt it. But right now
Oh, very well, if you insist. The border patrol will not be back for half an hour, so plenty of time for us to slip across. Come along. There's the farm and his wagon, Stephen, waiting in the shadows.
Yeah, I see them.
Dimitri?
Yes, Holly.
Well, this is goodbye, Stephen. I wish you were not leaving.
I'll be back.
I wonder.
What do you mean?
I have the strangest feeling I will not be seeing you again.
That's a cheerful thing to say.
You had better hurry.
Yeah.
Wait.
Hmm?
Now go.
After that, you think you won't be seeing me again? Oh, you can count on it.
Goodbye, Steve.
Okay, Dimitri. Shove off.
Yeah.
Hey, where's this village we're heading for, Dimitri?
5 kilometers.
Hey, why are you turning off the road?
This is a shorter way.
Oh. Many patrols in this area?
Not for another hour or two. That will be plenty of time. Whoa!
Hey, how come we're stopping?
Very simple. We're stopping because for you it is the end of the trip.
Look, Well, a machine gun.
Quite right. Now get out of the wagon.
Okay. Now I know why Sari figured she wouldn't be seeing me again. She was working with the opposition right from the start.
It's a bad time for you to be talking about the stars, Mitchell.
What do you mean?
As soon as I press this trigger, for you it will be the finish.
You're listening to Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell.
Mitchell, turn around.
Oh, in the back, huh?
In the back. And right now.
Hello, Stephen.
What? Sari!
In trouble again, I see.
I sure was until you knocked off Dmitri here.
Oh, this man is not Dimitri.
What?
Oh, I thought there was something strange about his voice. Then right after you started in the wagon, I found the real Dimitri's body in the ditch. So I followed.
Well, you just got elected the girl I'd most like to have following me.
Ah, thank you, darling.
So, what happens now?
Well, I seem to remember that...
I mean, how do I go about getting to the capital?
Business, always business. All right. I think I better take charge of you myself the rest of the way. Come along, we will go into the village and get a car.
Hey, look, where is this car anyway?
In the garage, just a few doors farther.
Good. I've got no desire to be wandering around these streets any more than I can help. Marzak's boys might spot me.
Stephen, wait.
What?
A man in front of the garage.
Quick, into the alley.
Did they see us?
I don't think so. Who are they?
I don't know.
That's the garage where you keep the car, huh?
Yes.
They must have gotten tipped somehow. Great. What do we do now? It's too far to walk to the capital.
Oh, Stephen, look. They've started this way.
Must have seen us. Come on, down the alley.
Quick, Stephen, forward.
Stop. Are you kidding?
That door, an empty warehouse.
Okay. Hurry up. Brother, dark in here.
We should be safe here.
Yeah, but it's not getting us any closer to Dr. Corvell.
Steve.
Yeah, steps outside in the alley. Quiet.
Good. They have passed by.
Yeah. Hey, if they're away from the garage, maybe we can get to the car after all. Wait a minute.
What?
Listen.
One of them is coming back.
Just one of them. Good. Stay down behind the crate. Now!
Steve, he must not call out.
He can't call with a stranglehold on him. A little more. A little more. There.
Speaking of being an old hand at this sort of thing.
Look, his buddies will be back looking for him any minute. We gotta hurry.
All right, go around to the back of the warehouse. I will get the car and pick you up there. Hop in, Stephen.
Okay. You sure didn't waste any time.
No, of course not. We must get the business over with fast, no?
Well...
Stephen, I have good news for you.
I could use some right now. What is it?
I learned from my man in the garage this Dr. Corvell was delayed getting across the border. He is now less than an hour ahead of us, and he's riding in a truck.
Think we can overtake him before he gets to the city?
It will be fun trying, Stephen.
Hey, there's a car coming up at us fast.
Oh, I see it.
It's Marzak. Brother, what a tough guy to shake. Watch out, he's pulling alongside.
This is for you, Mitchell.
Get down, Sari.
Let us make Marzak get down instead.
Hey!
Just giving him a friendly little nudge.
Oh, brother, right into the ditch. A friendly little nudge yet. Remind me never to get you mad at me. Now, let's see if we can catch up with that truck. Sari jams the throttle to the floor and holds it there. The minutes tick off. This is the last lap of the race and the lap that pays off. Up ahead of us somewhere, Dr. Corvell in the truck riding innocently into a death trap, and Sari and I in the car trying to catch up with him before the trap is sprung. But at least we've whittled down the opposition. Marzak's out of commission. Also the fake wagon driver who tried to machine gun me. That should leave just a friend whose house Dr. Corvell is heading for. Finally, we get to the outskirts of the city. Then Sari points up ahead.
There's the truck, Stephen.
Yeah, You sure that's the one Dr. Corvell's riding in?
Yes, I recognize it. It is my truck.
Wait a minute. How about the driver?
Oh, he's one of my men. He can be trusted.
Okay. As soon as we get up to the truck, pull alongside it and tell the driver
Stephen,
to...
look coming out of the side street.
A hay wagon.
Oh, it has stopped in the center of the road.
Oh, brother, the other team's throwing everything at us but the water board.
I think I can get around it.
Hey, now look, don't try to nudge that hay wagon into the ditch.
No, we must turn here.
Oh, brother, another inch and we'd have lined up with the rest of those tomatoes on that vegetable
No,
stand.
down the alley.
Hey, watch out, that car!
Are you still with me?
Yep, I got enough feathers on me to pass for Sitting Bull.
There. We should be around the hay wagon. Now we will turn back onto the road and catch the truck.
Hey, the truck's nowhere in sight.
Oh, but it could not have gotten far.
Oh, great, to get this close and then...
There, look. There it goes, down the side street.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only a block ahead of us now.
Wait, it's stopping in front of that house up ahead. Dr. Corvell's getting out.
He's going up the stairs. Stephen, we are too late.
If I don't catch him now, this race is going to turn into a dead heat. Jam on the brakes. Dr. Corvell! Dr. Corvell, wait!
Who are you?
Steve Mitchell, government agent from the States. Get away from that door.
No, this is a trick. Let go of me.
Now, look.
My friend Nicholas is inside. Let go.
Your friend Nicholas has a bullet for you.
Take your hands off me.
Get down.
Nicholas!
I've got him. Oh, boy. One more second would have been too many. I hope I never have to cut it that close again.
I cannot believe it. I thought Nicholas was my friend. Yet all the while he was planning to betray me.
Well, it's all over now anyway. Come on, Dr. Corvell. Let's get you over to the legislature. We pile into Sari's car and head for the Capitol building. On the front steps are two men. One of them looks like an American. The other is Bisco, the guy who tried to shake Marzak for me earlier.
Mitchell?
Yeah?
Thompson from the legation. We just about given you up.
Me, too. Looks like you didn't have much luck in shaking Marzak for me, Bisco.
I tried, but he was too clever for me. So I thought the best thing to do was come back here to the Capitol.
There's been an all-night session of the legislature inside, Mitchell. The whole thing's hanging in the balance. Could go either way. Then I had better go inside immediately. Yeah. Good thing you weren't delayed any longer, Dr. Corvell. Might have been too late to do any good.
Dr. Corvell, as an old friend, you must allow me the honor of escorting you inside personally.
But
come, I will take your arm.
Very well. I'll bet you're glad this deal's over, Mitchell.
You can say that again.
Rough go, hmm?
Well, if it'll give you a clue, I was framed for a jewel thief, shot at 3 times, and given a ride that would put any self-respecting roller coaster to shame.
Sounds like a real picnic.
That's all over now. Hey.
What's the matter?
Funny. Dr. Corvell and Bisco walked right by the door to the assembly hall.
What?
Hey, looks like I spoke too soon, Thompson. I slipped down the stairs and around into the alley beside the building. There's a car parked by the side door. I hugged the wall. A moment later, the door opens, and out comes Dr. Corvell, followed by Bisco.
Into the car, Corvell, and remember, I'm holding a gun on you in my pocket.
Guess Corvell's got no friends at all, Bisco, huh?
Mitchell!
Yeah, Mitchell.
Get your hands off me, I will kill you.
I've got your wrist. You pull that trigger now and you'll... What a hard guy to convince.
He shot himself.
Yeah, trying to do likewise to us.
Too easy. I have never seen him before.
That's what I figured. Come on.
When he took my arm, I could feel the gun in my side.
Didn't leave you much choice but to go with him.
Mitchell, you okay?
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Corvell. Better get in the assembly hall.
Yes, Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you.
I hope he's in time. Hey, listen. I guess that's your answer, Thompson.
Yeah, I guess it is all right. Well, I suppose you'll be wanting to get back right away, Mitchell. I can get you a plane reservation.
Well, as a matter of fact, Thompson, I already have my transportation all lined up.
Oh? Oh, you mean over there in the car?
Yeah.
Ah, I see your point.
Oh, no, you misunderstand.
You sure?
Nope, I'm just thinking of my own safety.
Safety? Look, air travel's pretty safe these days.
That's not what I mean. I've already seen what she does to guys she gets mad at. After all, you can't blame a guy for thinking of his own neck, can you?
Donlevy as Steve Mitchell is written by Bob Reif and Adrian Jondo. The music by Robert Armbruster and is produced and directed by Bill Karn. Be with us again next week at this same time when Brian Donlevy, starring in the role of Steve Mitchell, will embark on another dangerous assignment. Dangerous Assignment came to you from Hollywood. Now it's The Man Called X. Tomorrow, hear the big show on NBC.
Sergeant, you're assigned to homicide detail. It's New Year's Eve in your city and you're on special duty. Thousands of people crowd downtown streets. One of them is a killer. Your job, find them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was New Year's Eve. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide, special duty. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from dinner, and it was 8:35 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Joe?
Hi, Barney.
How is it outside?
It's cold. Not keeping people at home, though. Did you check the crowds?
Yeah. Been watching it from the window here. Seems bigger than last New Year's. Crazy.
You're on with Ben and me tonight, is that right?
Uh-huh. Thought I was going to have it off. Wife had a little house party planned and everything.
Well, that's too bad. Maybe next time, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said last New Year's. Nah, guess we better start moving.
Yeah, where's Ben?
He went down the hall a minute, said he'd be right back. I better take my top coat, huh?
Yeah, I would if I were you. Nothing for us in the book, is there, Barney?
I almost forgot Jack Conley called, having a little party out at his house. Wants you, Romero, to drop around when you get off. Said he'd call back.
Oh.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. You about ready?
Yeah, let me grab my overcoat.
All right.
I just tagged back communications. Switchboard's lit up like a Christmas tree, doing a million bid.
Just like last year, they're starting off strong.
415s, 507, calls coming in with a dozen. I'd like to see it just once. People celebrating New Year's without tearing up half the town.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Jack. Yeah, well, Barney just mentioned it. Well, we'll try and make it. You know how things are tonight. Yeah, we'll try, sure. Thanks a lot. There's Jack Conley, Ben, on his way home. He wants us to drop by his place if we get off early tonight.
Not much chance of that. You ready?
Yeah, I am. You, Barney? Let's go.
Guess you can't tell. You might get a break. The crowds are starting in pretty early. Good chance they'll break and go home right after midnight. That should get us off early.
And that was the idea last year, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
What time did you get off?
6 a.m. Together with Sergeant Barney Luchak, Ben and I left the city hall and started to cruise to the southern end of the central area. As any police officer can tell you, New Year's Eve for him is one of the hardest working nights in the year. This one was no different for us. Within an hour, we'd had more than a half a dozen calls to check out. Street fights, drunken driving, disturbing the peace. The usual complaints that you'd expect to get when a community of 3 million celebrates New Year's Eve. 9:43 p.m. We were cruising in the area of Alameda and Macy Street.
Unit 72R at Wilshire in Geneva at 311 KMA 367. Roger, 72R. Unit 112 at 83 Naylor Avenue. See the man, keep the peace. KMA 367.
No stopping them, huh?
Well, it's a big night.
Smoke, Joe?
No, thanks.
Attention all units. All units in the vicinity at East Main and Darwin. An officer needs help.
That looks like we got one, huh?
Yeah.
All units in the vicinity at East Main and Darwin. An officer needs help. KMA 367.
I guess we better handle it, huh?
All right. Next one to the left, Ben. We can go out Darwin.
Well, I better call him. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
What's the matter?
Well, I guess they're busy. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Stand by, 80K. Attention, all units. All units in the vicinity. The call to East Main and Darwin is now a shooting.
I guess you better push it, Ben.
Yep. Cut it down to the floor.
All units in the vicinity. The call to East Main and Darwin is now a shooting. The call is now code 3, KMA 367.
That's it, coming up, Ben. East Main.
Yeah. There's a crowd there on the corner. I guess you better pull up here, huh? All right. Come on. Yeah.
Over by the light pole, Ben. Joe, man lying on the sidewalk.
You want to check the crowd, Barney?
Yeah, okay.
Let us through here, please.
Can we get through?
Excuse me. Look, will you please get back? Move back, please.
All right, come on. I wonder if you just move along.
Just move along, man.
Move along.
That's
Give us
right.
a little room to work. Thank you. Ben?
Yeah, Joe?
Have a look here.
Huh? No.
That's Jack Conley.
That?
He's dead. His full name was John Patrick Conley, serial number 367. He was one of the veteran officers in Central Homicide. He lay face down on the pavement, one of his legs straddling the curbstone. He'd been shot twice at the base of his skull. There were 4 more bullet wounds in his back. Ben got to a phone, called Homicide, and told them what had happened. 24 cruiser cars and more than a half 100 men were immediately dispatched to the scene of the killing. They circled the area for a dozen blocks around and started a door-to-door search for the killer. Suspicious-looking pedestrians were stopped at every street corner and questioned. 10:30 p.m. The ambulance arrived and Jack Conley's body was taken to the morgue. Along with Thaxter and Bryan from Homicide, Barney Luchek, Ben, and I continued checking in the immediate vicinity of the killing. We found no one who'd admit that they actually saw the shooting. Half a dozen people in the crowd told us that they heard the shots and they saw Conley fall to the pavement. They'd also seen a man standing behind Conley turn and run down the street right after the shooting. No one had followed him. The man was described as medium build, wearing a dark suit and a dark hat. That's all they could tell us. 11:25 p.m. Ben and I met Barney Luchek back at the car.
Morning. Did you get anything? Checked out every store in the neighborhood that's open. Not much. How about you?
Well, it's the same. Pretty thin.
Bryan and Thaxter turned up a newsboy down the street. He told him he saw the guy in the dark suit running down the street.
Yeah.
Thought he saw the guy come out of this bar here.
We heard that too, Barney. We talked to the bartender. He doesn't recall the man.
Well, I almost forgot. I checked with the office. Mrs. Conley's been calling in. Wants to know where her husband is.
Oh, yeah.
I asked personnel to hold off notifying her. Thought maybe you fellas would want to tell her. You knew Conley pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah, a long time.
Family man?
3 kids.
If you fellas don't want to tell her, I'll call personnel back. They can do it.
No, it's all right. We'll tell her. "11:40 p.m. Ben and I got in the car and headed out for the home of the slain officer, Jack Conley. The house was on Ralston Avenue, just a few blocks from where Ben lived. We parked the car and started up the front walk. The lights were burning in the living room.
Lousy job.
What?
I said it's a lousy job.
Yeah. Better try it again, huh?
I heard it. Somebody's coming.
Oh.
Hi, Joe, Ben.
Hello, Betty.
Hi, Betty.
I'm sure glad you can make it. Everybody's here. Come in, come in.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for that wandering husband of mine. If he's not here by midnight, he's going to be in the doghouse for sure. Here, let me take your coat.
No, Betty, that's all right. I wonder if we could go back into the kitchen. We'd like to talk to you.
Mary, can't you stay long?
Well, no, not too long.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, come on back in the kitchen and I'll get you something. Maybe you can drop back later on. Jack should be here by then. He'd better be. Come on in. Either one of you seen Jack?
That's what we wanted to talk to you about, Betty.
What?
You want to sit down, Betty?
What is it, Joe? Tell me.
Well, he had an accident.
Where is he? I want to go see him. How bad an accident?
Pretty bad.
I want to go see him, Joe. If he's hurt, I want to see him. Couldn't be that bad, could it?
Yeah.
Oh, please, Joe. Please, not dead. Tell me, Joe, please.
I'm sorry, Betty.
Dear God. Oh, God.
Want to give me a hand here, Joe? Yeah. She's white as a sheet. Be worse when she comes to. We better get a hold of the family doctor. No, we're going to have to wait. We'll never get through now. Huh? Phone lines are probably jammed. It's midnight. Oh, yeah. Happy New Year. 12:30 a.m. We finally got a hold of the Conley's family doctor, and he told us that he'd be over as quickly as possible. Some of Betty Conley's relatives at the party said that they'd look after things until the doctor arrived. Ben and I left the house and drove back to the scene of the murder. The house-to-house check of the entire area was still going on. There was no trace of the killer. 1:30 a.m. A low fog moved in over the city. Traffic began to thin out a little. The street crowds disappeared. 2 a.m. The search went on. A little before 2:30, a patrolman on foot located a taxicab driver in the neighborhood who claimed that he'd seen a man answering the killer's description just after the shooting. Ben and I went down the street to talk to the driver. He sat behind the wheel of his cab. It was especially equipped with shortwave radio to handle calls directly from the taxi company's dispatch office.
Trying to pass it on for whatever it's worth, officer. It happened just a minute or two before I picked up my last fare.
What time was that? Do you remember?
I'm remembering, too, and I got it right here in the waybill. Yeah, here we go. 9:48 p.m. I was parked just where I am now. Same old stand. I picked up a fare, drove them to North Main and Sotelo, and I came back here. My cab broke down. Lousy distributor. I've been waiting for the repair truck ever since.
Well, just what was it that happened before you picked up that fare here? That was at 9:48, is that right?
Yeah, 9:48, yeah. Well, I was going to say, it was just a minute or two before that. I was parked right here. This guy comes running down the street through the crowd. He was really running, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's almost past me when he stopped all of a sudden, turned around and looked at me. I thought he wanted a cab, so I opened the door for him. He just looked at me and said, "Never mind," or something like that, and then he took off down the street. Maybe he was just a little goofed up, I don't know.
Can you remember what he looked like?
Oh, about your build, I guess. Medium. He had a hat on, dark hat, dark suit.
Did you get a look at his face?
Yeah, he's about 28 or 30, dark complexion.
Anything else you remember about it?
No, not for sure. He looked like 100 other mooches down around this neighborhood. Just listen to those calls come in, huh? New Year's Eve, and I draw a lame cab.
Well, there's nothing else that you remember about this man that you think might help us, huh?
No, you got it all, Sergeant. Just acted a little queer, that's all. Goofed up, probably.
Did you see which way he went when he took off?
Right down the street. That way.
Mm-hmm.
Lost himself in the crowd. I couldn't be bothered.
Mm-hmm. How about when he came running down the street towards you? Did you happen to notice where he was coming from?
Matter of fact, yeah, that was just after I heard those gunshots. Of course, I didn't know there were gunshots then.
Yeah.
Looked to me like he came out of that joint up there, right near where the cop was shot.
Which joint was that?
The 228, that bar up there.
Well, it wasn't much, but it was the only lead we had to go on. 7 persons in the vicinity at the time of the shooting had volunteered the information that the killer had been a recent customer at the 228 Club, the neighborhood tavern. The owner and bartender of the club, Ralph Stevens, had been questioned twice that night by different officers, and he twice denied that there was any possibility that the killer could have been a patron at his bar. Stevens' denial didn't make any more sense than the killing itself. We made arrangements to have the cab driver we interviewed come down to the city hall to check through our mug books for the suspect. By 10 a.m. the next morning, the body of the slain homicide officer, Jack Conley, had been posted. 4 bullets were taken from his back, 2 from the base of his skull. Russ Camp ran the slugs through ballistics, where they were identified as having been fired from a .38 caliber Colt Special revolver. 11 a.m. We drove back to the 228 Club, where we talked to some of the customers who'd been there the night before. 3 of them told us that they'd seen a man answering the general description of the killer in the bar shortly before the shooting. Ben and I went back to the stockroom at the rear of the bar and talked to the owner, Ralph Stevens. Look, how long does this thing have to go on anyway? I told you everything I knew last night.
We know that, Stephen. Doesn't seem to jibe with what the rest of the witnesses saw, though.
Hey, maybe you better take it up with them. I don't know anything about it. I got work to do, and you're in my way there.
Excuse me.
How come you're so sure that the man we want wasn't in your place last night? I'm not on trial here. You asked me what I know, and I told you. If you don't mind, I got work to do. You mind moving over there? We'd appreciate it if you'd cooperate. All right, if you want to know the truth, you're not good for my business here. Cops never are. Coming around asking questions, customers don't like it. It's no good for business, no good at all. A cop was killed last night right outside your front door. Now, half a dozen people say that the guy who did it was in here drinking.
I run this place. It's mine. I say the man wasn't in here. Still like to know how you're so sure. I'm getting a little tired of this. I don't have an office down at the City Hall to lounge around in. I got work to do. How about leaving, huh?
You want to get your coat? We can talk to you downtown. Come on.
Not before I call my lawyer. Go ahead and call him. Where's your coat?
Why do we have to have trouble? I haven't got any beefs with you.
No trouble, Stevens. We have to get to the bottom of it, that's all. I'd like to have you cooperate.
Maybe the guy was in here last night. He came in a couple of times, that's all. I didn't want it to get out. Bad for business, those things. Can't afford it. Keeps customers away. Then the man was in here last night, is that right?
I wasn't trying to cover it for him. I hardly know him. I just didn't want it to get out. I got a right to protect my business.
Who is the man?
Harry Talmadge. He's a hophead. If he did it, it probably wasn't his fault.
How do you mean?
He was hyped up last night, uses heroin. He probably didn't mean to shoot.
Where do we find him?
I wouldn't know if this is right. Old address.
What is it?
Fairview Hotel. Try there.
11:35 a.m., New Year's Day. We got in touch with Barney Luchek and Tom Bryan from Homicide, and they drove downtown to check at the Fairview Hotel for the suspect. Ben and I finished questioning the owner of the 228 Club, and we went back to the office. 11:58 a.m., Barney Luchek and Bryan got back.
Barney, what have you got? Fairview Hotel on South Grand. Was that the one?
Yeah. Did you find it okay?
Yeah, I talked to the desk clerk.
Talmadge registered there?
Yeah, he was. Checked out 2 months ago. No leads.
You are listening to Dragnet, a series of authentic case histories documented from official files.
1 p.m. New Year's Day. After we found that the suspect, Harry Talmadge, had checked out of the Fairview Hotel months before, Ben and I went back to the office and ran his name through R&I. The information given us by Ralph Stevens, the owner of the 228 Club, was apparently correct. The record on Talmadge showed that he was a confirmed user of narcotics. He served 2 brief terms for illegal possession of narcotics and another short term in the county jail for petty theft. We got out a broadcast and an APB on Talmadge. We checked out all his known friends and relatives, the places that he frequented, hotels, boarding houses that he'd stayed at. No leads. With the help of Lieutenant Walters and narcotics detail, we finally found the trail most likely to lead us to the suspect. The peddlers who were suspected of supplying Talmadge with narcotics. They were kept under a 24-hour watch. 3 days passed. No results. January 4th, 9 a.m. Ben and I went to the funeral and burial services for the murdered officer, Jack Conley. 11 a.m. We got back to the office.
Don't know why, Joe. I just don't cotton to funerals. Not a cop's funeral, anyway.
Well, I don't blame you. His wife looked a lot better, didn't she?
Yeah, she do bang up good, considering.
Well, Joe?
Hi, Barney.
What do you say, Barney?
Yeah, young fella you told me about. He phoned you, Ben.
Oh, is that right? Did you give him the information?
Yeah, he wanted to know all about taking the police department examination.
Now, who's that?
One of my neighbor's boys, a nice kid. Wants to get on the force.
I told him to apply at room 5, City Hall, any weekday. You can make his application then.
That it?
Fine, Barney, thanks.
Well, they got the recruiting campaign going now?
Yeah, all this month. Taking applications from all over the country.
I'll get it. Homicide, Friday. Oh, yeah, Walters. Just a minute. Okay. ALDSON, Donaldson. Okay, fine. Thanks a lot. Lou Walters and narcotics might be something.
What's that?
Oh? Well, he got a line on one of the mules who used to push heroin to town. He's a guy by the name of Donaldson. He's been sounded out. He's ready to talk to us.
This Donaldson was close to Talmadge?
Well, supposedly, yeah.
You know where Talmadge is?
Well, let's ask him. Ben and I left the office and drove to the address on South Alameda where Donaldson, a friend of the murder suspect, was supposed to be staying. Turned out to be a cheap hotel in the Skid Row district. It was next to one of the rescue missions down there. We finally located Donaldson across the street. He was standing on the sidewalk along with 4 or 5 other men. They were listening to a small Salvation Army band playing outside one of the beer joints.
I hardly miss any of these sidewalk meetings, Sergeant. Like 'em. Band music. Even listen to the sermons. Do me a lot of good.
I understand you're not pushing junk anymore, Donaldson. Is that right?
And you want to call me Big, Sergeant? Name's really John, but everybody calls me Big.
All right.
No, I haven't been pushing junk. Not for months. All through with it.
Well, when's the last time that you saw Harry Talmadge?
A couple of weeks ago. I'm not much for Harry anymore. Like I say, I've been regular at these sidewalk meetings, hearing the sermons. Changes the way a fella does things, you know.
Yeah.
Man's got to turn good sometime during his life. Not getting any younger. 58. I figure it's time I start living by the word. Say, that's nice music, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have any idea where we might find Talmadge now?
I might have a few ideas on it. I don't know. Say, I guess neither one of you fellas use snuff.
No.
Don't bother you, does it?
No, go right ahead. That's all right.
I know the last boarding house Harry stayed at, if that'll help any. Place on 12th Street. I can give you the address.
Well, is he still there, do you know?
I don't think he is, no. Matter of fact, I'm sure he's not. Wish Harry'd come around and see me. Like to get him interested in these sidewalk meetings. Get him listening to the sermons. Might help him. Did an awful lot for me.
Yes, sir. Well, you say that you saw Talmadge about 2 weeks ago?
Well, not quite 2 weeks ago. It was the day after Christmas. Came down to my hotel and wanted some money. I couldn't give him any. That's when he told me he was moving. Going to some rooming house up around the City Hall section up there.
Did he mention any address?
Not that I recollect, no. That sure is nice music, isn't it?
Well, how about some of his other friends, Biggs? You think they might be able to help us?
Well, Duke might help you. Harry and old Duke are still great friends. Duke sees him more than I do.
Where do we find Duke?
Well, you know the Penny Arcade down in South Main? Right down from the train depot there?
Yeah.
That's where Duke works. He's a janitor there. I've been trying to get Duke to come to the sidewalk meetings, too. He sure could stand it, old Duke.
Well, thanks very much, Biggs.
Not at all, Sergeant. Always glad to help out. Now, look at that now. All out of snuff. Say you couldn't see your way clear, could you?
There you go, Biggs.
That's sure Christian of you, Sergeant. I'll handle this just like a personal loan.
That's all right, Biggs. Don't say anything about us talking to you, though, huh? Not to anyone.
No, sir, I won't. You can trust me. Say, when you see Harry, give him a message, huh?
Well, what's that?
You tell him to come and see me. I want him to show up at these meetings, hear the sermons. It could change everything, Sergeant. Could give him a new life, new soul. Brand new soul for Harry. Think of that.
Yeah, I could use one. 3 p.m. Tuesday, January 4th. We drove down to the Penny Arcade on South Main. Harry Talmadge's friend, Duke, wasn't there. The manager of the place gave us his home address, and we checked it out. Duke wasn't there either. We staked out at the place for the rest of the afternoon. Duke failed to show. At 6 o'clock that night, Barney Luchek and Brian from Homicide came out and relieved us. Ben and I had dinner at Johnny Copen's, and then we went back to the office. 7:20 p.m.
Want to grab that, Joe?
Yeah, I got it. Homicide, Friday.
This is Luchek, Joe.
Oh, yeah, Barney.
Talmadge's friend just showed up here. We're talking to him now.
Will he tell you anything?
Yeah, you got a pencil. You better write this down.
All right, wait a minute. Just a second. All right, go ahead.
1727 West Hoover, apartment 3.
It was 1727 West Hoover, is that right?
Yeah.
Apartment 3? Well, what's the pitch?
Harry Talmadge. Duke says he's there now.
All right, Barney, thanks. Bye.
Luchek?
Yeah.
What's he got?
Harry Talmadge. Supposed to be at this address. Ben and I got in the car and drove out to the West Hoover Street address where we met Luchek and Brian. 1727 was a small two-story apartment house, Spanish stucco in style. Apartment 3 was at the rear of the first floor. All right, Luchek, you want to pick up Brian and you cover the back. Huh?
Right, Joe.
Come on, Ben. Let's go. Huh? Get us up the stairs, huh? Mm-hmm.
Number 3.
Okay. I'll cover you.
sound inside. Door's open.
Well, let's have a look.
No, it's empty.
You want to try the bedroom? I'll check the kitchen.
Joe, in here. Wait. All right, tell me. What's that? Got a gun, Joe. Grab it. All right, you're a cop. All right, come on, drop it. Drop it. My arm. I got it, Joe.
All right, come on your feet. All right, get him in back again. All right. Come on, hold still.
38 revolver, Joe. Colt Special.
All right, how about it, Talmadge?
It's mine. What of it? Where's your coat?
I don't know. Why'd you kill him?
Because I wanted to, that's all. He was a cop. Is that your only reason? I told you he was a cop. What's the difference?
There's a big difference, mister.
Why? I killed him. It's just one cop less. What's the difference?
Ask his family. They'll tell you.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 26th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Harold Wesley Talmadge was found guilty of manslaughter by jury trial and was sentenced to the state penitentiary. He was paroled after serving 6 years in prison. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, more good mystery on NBC.
The Irene Dunn, Fred McMurray Show. Starring Irene Dunn as Susan and Fred McMurray as George. Together in the gay, new, exciting comedy adventure, Bright Star. Yes, it's the Irene Dunn, Fred McMurray Show. Starring, well, naturally, Irene Dunn as Susan Armstrong, editor and owner of the Hillsdale Morning Star, and Fred McMurray as George Harvey, Susan's ace reporter. As we join our two stars, we find Irene, that is Susan, consulting with George, on a weighty matter concerning the city of Hillsdale.
About this wave of safe robberies in town, Susan, I was thinking that if you could write another editorial putting the blast on the chief of police...
What'll I call him this time, George? Bungling and inefficient, or corrupt and knavish?
Well, make it a little of each. Keep him off balance. And be sure to say that he...
Good afternoon. Have I the pleasure of addressing Miss Susan Armstrong?
Why, yes.
J. Palmer Herrick of Hollywood, the capitals of Europe, the New York stage, and now in virtual retirement in your so beautiful little city of Hillsdale.
Well, how do you do, Mr. Herrick? This is Mr. Harvey, a reporter on our paper.
Oh, how are you?
Yes, indeed. Miss Armstrong, not as a commercial venture, but merely to express my appreciation for the hospitality of your delightful little town, I am founding here the J. Palmer Herrick School of the Dramatic Arts. Now, please get the spelling right, Harvey. It's Herrick.
Well, that's fine. We'll be glad to run a story on the dramatic page.
Dramatic page? Oh, my dear lady, this is headline news.
You see, Mr. Herrick, our space is rather limited just now. There's a local crime wave that...
Let me get over here. No, don't turn your head. I want to see the left profile. Amazing.
Amazing.
Lily Jandot, when she played Roxane to my Cyrano in our triumphal European tour. You have been on the stage, of course, Miss Armstrong.
Well, no. That is, I did several walk-ons in college.
I knew it. You will, of course, enroll immediately in my school, Miss Armstrong. Immediately. Too much time has been wasted already.
Dramatic training? Me? Well, really, Mr. Herrick...
No, you owe it to yourself, to the world.
Well, I really don't have any serious aspirations about the stage.
Susan, you're not going to fall for this. Can't you see it's just an angle to get free space in the paper?
Space? What is space when placed beside a discovery such as this? Why, we of the theater...
Sorry, Shem. You just happen to have picked the wrong person, that's all. Miss Armstrong is a very intelligent woman, and she certainly knows that the idea of her having stage possibility is just completely laughable.
Oh, George.
Susan, you're not laughing.
Well, I don't see anything so excruciating about my taking one or two classes. Perhaps bringing out the inner...
Ham? Good. I shall expect you tonight at 8, Miss Armstrong.
But why not?
Oh, brother.
The delight of the unexpected. I come on a trifling errand, the very nature of which escapes me, and I find another Lily Jandot blooming in the wilderness. Come, Harvey, to work. Be sure you get the spelling right now. Herrick, and the address is 1924.
7 o'clock, Mr. Harvey. You're not going out for dinner?
No, Sammy. I guess I'll just have you run down and get me a sandwich again.
Ham and cheese again?
No, let's make it something different tonight. Ham, salad, and cheese.
Oh, for the good old days when you used to get invited over to Miss Armstrong's, huh?
Yeah, 7-course meals we had, starting with... Oh, well, one mustn't live in the past, Sammy.
And one must sacrifice for one's art. That's what Miss Armstrong says.
Yeah, only it's her art and my sacrifice. At 10:30, I am privileged to call for Miss Sarah Bernhardt at the theater and escort her home.
Shall I get your sandwich now?
No, I'm not hungry, but... well, I'll toy with it a while. This is the winter of my discontent.
How's that?
Well, Shakespeare, Sammy. I pick up crumbs of information like that from the theatrical set.
Poor Mr. Harvey.
Poor Mr. Harvey.
You see, class, under the Stanislavski method of what you act, you must be, and what you set your mind to, you will be. A woman betrayed, a waterfall, a Grecian urn. You understand, Miss Armstrong?
I think so, Mr. Herrick.
You may call me Maestro. And now we shall try it.
Hi, Susan. You all through?
Oh, hello, George. In a minute.
The stage, Harvey, is for the actors.
Well, excuse me. I saw you out here, and I thought anyone could come out.
Philistine. We shall try it, Miss Armstrong. You are a woman faced with a tragic choice. You are being asked to give up everything. Title, kingdom, family, friends, everything. To share the hovel of a penniless poet, the man you love. Susan, you must be that woman.
I'll try, Maestro.
Your cue. You must choose, beloved. Choose between Francois, I who can offer you nothing, and the palaces, the jewels, the trappings of glory. I am waiting, beloved. Choose between power, pomp, all things the world holds of value, and to balance the scale, only the love of poor Francois. Choose. Choose between a lifetime of security and ease, and the day-to-day, hand-to-mouth struggle, which will be your life with me. I await your answer, beloved. Is it yes or no?
Yes.
Well, it needs more work, Susan. I had the feeling I was carrying you.
If you were, it was a short trip.
Please, George.
Well, that's all for tonight, class. You have your assignments. Work on them. Live them. That is all.
Excuse me, Miss Armstrong, but would you and Mr. Harvey... this is Miss Cartwright, George. reporter for the news.
Well, how do you do? Would you and Mr. Harvey just possibly be going my way? It's so late, and I don't happen to have an escort, and I just want...
Well?
Why, certainly, Miss Cartwright. Your way is our way.
Well, that's just awfully nice of you, especially since I'm a rival reporter. A friendly rival, that is. You're sure you don't mind?
Mind? Why, that's ridiculous, isn't it, Susan?
It's practically hilarious.
And the three of us can discuss Stanislavski. You've been on the stage, of course, Mr. Harvey.
Me? Oh, no.
No? Why, this is unbelievable. With those theatrical features.
You really think I have theatrical features?
Pull in your balcony, George, and let's go.
Oh, but you have faced the public in some capacity, Mr. Harvey.
Well, I did play a saxophone solo at my high school graduation.
Maestro!
Yes?
I've made a discovery.
Well?
Mr. Harvey, give him a line reading, Maestro. I'm sure he's one of us.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Neither would I. Are you coming, George?
Well, no, wait, Susan. After all, if there is something in me, I should give it a chance to come out.
Exactly. You owe it to yourself. Here, read this, Mr. Harvey.
Well, choose between a lifetime of security and ease and the hand-to-mouth struggle which will be your life with me. I await your answer, beloved. Well?
Well, Maestro?
Well, Maestro?
You understand, Mr. Harvey, that the lessons here are on a strictly cash basis?
Oh, of course.
The relentless scourge of commercialism across the bent back of the artist. Huh? Mr. Harvey, you are one of us.
Well, coming, Susan? Miss Cartwright? Coming, fellow artists?
Down, George boy, down. Good morning, patient.
Good morning, Miss Susan. Your breakfast is all ready.
Thank you, patient.
How are you getting along with Stanislavski?
I'm developing, I think. But it's really a difficult concept, especially the assignments the maestro gives us.
What are you today?
Today I'm a coffee pot.
Oh. Shall I put the asbestos pad under you?
No, I don't think so. Thanks.
Oh, doorbell.
That's George. He's calling for me this morning.
I'll get it.
Good morning, patients.
Good morning.
Miss Armstrong up yet?
Up and percolating nicely, thank you. Right in here. Mr. Harvey, Miss Susan.
Thank you, patience. Good morning, George.
Good morning. Do I detect a slight chill in your greeting, Susan?
Not at all. But really, George, last night...
Well, Miss Cartwright thinks I'm doing rather well. I've only been with the group a week. She thought I even stole the scene I did with you.
Well, naturally. Shuffling your feet all during my big speech.
Oh, just a little bit of business I worked on. I thought it added something.
Oh, why didn't you break into a soft shoe? We mustn't let things drag, you know.
Some toast, Mr. Harvey? How about a slice of ham? We seem to be overstocked.
No, thanks, patience. Well, we'd better be going. Coming, Susan?
Yes, George. And, George, I want to talk to you about the little habit you have of crossing in front of me on my lines.
Cross in front of you? The stage is movement, Susan. If you stay rooted in one spot, I can hardly...
Just because I don't consider that I'm trying not to attract me, there's no reason why you should try to do
Oh, now they're actors. Next week, a trip to the moon.
That's all for tonight, students. Work on your assignments. See you tomorrow.
Susan, you don't mind if I drop you off first tonight and then take Imogene home, do you?
Mind? Why, of course not, George. Whatever put that into your head?
Oh, that's swell. You see, it's a much shorter walk that way, and Imogene thought that the two of us could talk over the scene we're in together. I told her you wouldn't mind.
Well, of course not. Better still, why don't I just walk home alone? Practically the same thing anyway.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Susan. There's no reason to take that attitude because of... Susan, come back here. I wonder what made her flare up like that.
What made Miss Armstrong leave so quickly, George?
No, she didn't feel well, Imogene.
Oh, nerves, I guess.
Yeah.
I do feel sometimes that the strain of being an executive and a woman at the same time is too much for anyone. But she does make such a good try at it.
Yes, she does.
And then it must be hard for her, your paper getting scooped so many times by the news on these crime stories.
Well, that won't keep up forever, Imogene. Those crooks are going to be nabbed soon, and I'm going to be in on it.
Here's your office building, George. Is somebody on the paper working late tonight?
No, I don't think so.
Well, isn't that a light on inside?
Yeah. Hey, it looks like a flashlight. Imogene, somebody's in there cracking the safe. You stay here. I'm going in.
I'm going with you, George. George, they put out their light.
Yeah, you stay here. I'll throw a bluff into them. All right. I know you're in here, and I've got you covered. Come out with your hands up. I said come out with your
Put the light on him, Eddie.
Sure. My, he's a big one, Max.
Yeah, but not trustworthy. He told us he had a gun.
Oh, well, he didn't need one.
Excuse me, but are you robbing this safe?
Here's another, Eddie.
Lady, we already robbed the safe.
Well, you shouldn't have, but as long as you did, would you do me a favor?
The money we don't give back.
Oh, no. You see, I work for the other paper in town. Would you mind tying up George here until my paper can get on the streets with the story?
Well, I don't think so. Would you mind, Eddie?
Oh, not a bit, Max. Would you mind, George? George says he wouldn't mind.
No.
What does George do, lady?
He's an actor.
Turn your light on his face, Max. Yeah. This is an actor?
Just starting out.
Just starting out. George, I hope you have a very wealthy father.
Now back to our two stars, Irene Dunn and Fred McMurray, and the second act of our story. It's the morning after George Harvey's great heroics while trying to foil the robbery of the Morning Star office. And George finds himself very much in the news.
Hey, Mr. Harvey, you look much better since you had a shave.
Well, spending the night tied up on the floor, Sammy, is not exactly a beauty sleep.
I'm all sympathy, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you. I'm glad someone is. Is Miss Armstrong here yet?
In her office.
How did she seem?
Antagonistic.
Everybody acts as if this thing was my fault. I'm going in and talk to her.
Good luck, Mr. Harvey.
Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, George. I hope you're feeling all right.
Of course, Susan. I told you on the phone earlier I'm as good as new. Did they get much money from the safe?
It was insured.
Oh, good. What are you reading?
The news, extra. Bandits clean out Star office as actor reporter plays dead.
Actor reporter?
You, George.
Oh.
Scooped on the robbery of our own office.
Well, those things happen, Susan.
Why?
That is an unfair question.
Well, come on, actor reporter. They want to speak to you down at the police headquarters.
Why? I've already told them the story when they found me this morning.
I really don't know why, George. Maybe they want you to play a benefit.
Oh, you really think so?
No.
Somehow I didn't think you did.
Let's go over this just once more and see if I can get it straight, Mr. Harvey.
You're fighting me, Sergeant.
No, but it's an idea.
Please, George.
Now, you say you didn't see the man.
No.
But Miss Cartwright, who was with you, did see them.
I was unconscious.
That I believe. Where were you coming from when you saw their light in the window?
My drama class.
Miss Armstrong, I thought you said this man was a reporter.
I didn't say it. He did.
Susan.
Now, you say you rushed inside the office. What for?
I was going to capture the bandits.
Did you have a gun?
No, but I acted like I did have.
You acted like you did?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey, the next time you see two fellas robbing a safe, will you kindly not go into a role from your latest stage success, but just call the police?
He will, Sergeant.
Thank you. We know it's not dramatic, but unless we catch a few crooks now and then, we wouldn't have any jobs. You can see that, Mr.
Harvey. I think so, yes.
We'd appreciate it. That's all.
Well, that sergeant didn't have to take such a superior attitude.
I think he was very moderate. under the circumstances, George.
What circumstances? I practically get my skull caved in, lie all night on a cold stone floor.
Wood?
A cold wood floor, and just because I was coming home from a dramatic class, everybody treats me as if I was an eccentric or something.
Might I suggest, George, that you concentrate for a while on being merely a newspaper reporter?
You mean give up the drama class? Well, how about you?
Well, I haven't thought much about it.
But I should give it up. Just when Imogene says I'm beginning to project.
Well, kindly project on your own time, Mr. Harvey.
I shall continue to do so. I shall see you at the drama workshop tonight, Miss Armstrong.
I shall see you tonight, Mr. Harvey.
What a hand.
Students, an important announcement for you tonight. J. Palmer Herrick begins casting for his first public Hillsdale production. The cast will be chosen from my afternoon class and from this evening class. The vehicle will be an exciting drama of my own composing, a gangster drama of the early 30s, as yet untitled. I'm torn between titling it Public Enemy or High Sierra.
Aren't you thrilled, George?
Oh, yes, very. Aren't you, Susan?
Very.
Students, to appear in this original Herrick production, you must look a gangster, talk a gangster, be a gangster. Tonight, our class is a field problem under actual test conditions. Students of the drama, tonight we shall burglarize the vault of the Acme Storage Company.
Mr. Herrick, don't you think you're being a little extreme?
Well, naturally, my bright young man, we shall not in actuality break into the vault. I have arranged with the president of the company for us to use the premises.
Oh, that's different.
We shall therefore experience all of the turbulent emotions of the underworld outlaw, an experiment Stanislavski himself would have applauded. The class is dismissed to reassemble in 20 minutes in front of the Acme Storage Company.
You want to walk over with me, George?
Well, as a matter of fact, Imogene,
Go right ahead, George. If you want to, that is.
Coming, Georgie?
Well, no, you see, Imogene, I thought I might walk over with Susan. Things to discuss about the paper and so on. You understand.
Oh, of course, George, I understand. Bye now.
Why did you do that, George?
Oh, I don't know, Susan. I just want to do that, so.
And do you have anything to talk over with me about the paper?
Well, no. You angry?
Furious. Come on, George. Let's walk over to the Acme warehouse the long way. George?
Yeah?
Think you'll get a role in this gangster play?
Well, no.
I don't think I will either.
Stanislavski, coffee pots, who cares?
I'm glad you said that. I feel just the same way.
Susan, I'll never be an actor. I just haven't got the desire or talent to get.
You know, I think I might even drop out of the class. That is, if you were considering dropping out, I wouldn't want to leave you there alone.
Oh, I wouldn't be alone. Imogene would still be there.
That's just what I mean.
Well, I think I'll drop out, too. After tonight. Give me more time for other things.
What, George?
Well, like when I used to come over to your house for dinner, and then after dinner we'd sit around and talk and...
Yeah, George?
Well, we'd talk and... Well, you know, Susan.
Sure, I know, George.
It's the first time I ever kissed a girl in front of the First National Bank building.
Miss Armstrong and Mr. Harvey. Then we're all here, huh? Now, you understand the field problem. You are desperate hunted criminals experiencing surging sudden alarm as you break into this building. Mr. Harvey, you and Miss Armstrong will now enter.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Herrick. I left my skeleton key at home.
Mr. Harvey, I arranged for the front door to be open.
Oh. Well, coming, Susan?
Coming, Raffles.
After you come out, the next couple will enter. So I see they are all.
Dark inside. You better stay close to me, partner in crime.
You know, I do begin to feel like a real criminal, George.
Me, too. You know, maybe I ought to steal a light bulb or something just to make it authentic.
Hey, you two. Stand right where you are.
George, there's someone in here. Over there. He's got a gun.
Oh, sure. Must be a student from the afternoon class. Herrick put him in here to scare us.
What are you two doing in here? You see Maxie from the outside working on the vault?
Yeah. We spotted Maxie working on the vault.
You're pretty cocky, friend.
I guess you're going to plug us on the spot, huh?
George, are you sure he's from the afternoon class?
Oh, sure, Susan. He's the worst actor I ever saw.
Come over here slow where I can get a look at you.
No, Fran. Here's a little tip for you. You're playing it much too broad. Not believable at all. One-dimensional characterization.
George, I have a...
Oh, don't worry, Susan. If he's a gangster, I'm Mickey Rooney.
Mickey, maybe you and the little lady better come back and see Maxie. Now move.
No. Look, you don't even know how to handle a gun. Here, give it to me. Here, I'll show you now. All right, you two, move. You see? That's the way. Here's your gun.
Thanks. Now let's go see Maxie.
George, I don't like his looks at all.
Oh, he's doing the best he can, Susan. He just isn't living his role, that's all.
But there is someone in the back, at the vault.
Yeah, well, I hope he's a better actor than this one.
Hey, Max, look what walked in on us.
Yeah, well, they're running in pairs this season. Haven't I seen you before, boy bank robber?
Sure, we're from the evening class.
Yeah, you hear that, Eddie? They're holding classes these days.
Hey, think of us. Never took a lesson in our lives.
George, look. Vault door, open.
Oh, well, Herrick must arrange that.
What should we do with him, Max?
Max. Look, I'll give you the same tip I gave your friend Eddie here. You're both playing it a mile too wide. Real gangsters don't talk like that. Lighten it up a little.
Yeah, lighten it up, Max.
Yeah, I do a good Jimmy Cagney at parties. Big laughs.
George, this is the real thing. Look at the jewelry. They got it out of the vault.
Oh, please, Susan. You see, fellas, you can't just play mugs anymore. You've got to give it some dimension. Maybe one of you could have a kind of a neurotic twitch, and the other could have a... Susan, that's real jewelry. These are real safecrackers.
That's what I've been telling you, George. Listen, you won't get away with this, you two.
Now, you'll give us a good review in your paper tomorrow. We're thinking of taking our act to Broadway.
All right, we talked to these two drama critics long enough, Max. You got the vault cleared out? We'll put them in it.
Yeah, good. Hey, move. This is really a real gun.
Well, you certainly fooled me. Well, what do we do now, Susan?
George, do you suppose they got the secret compartment in the vault?
What's that? Where? Max, get in there and look around for a secret compartment.
Yeah, right, Eddie.
Well, you see anything in there?
Yeah, not a thing.
You better come on out, then. Maybe it was just a... Hey! In you go, Eddie. The door, Susan. Hey! You can't do this! Open up! Hey!
Nice timing on the door, Susan. If it hadn't been for you tricking them,
Oh, you were magnificent, George, magnificent.
Was I, actually? Well, come on, Susan. We've got to get out an extra. Daring actor reporter captures bank robbers. Come on.
Our two stars, Irene Dunn and Fred McMurray, will be back with us in just a moment.
You're sitting there very quietly, George.
Oh, just thinking. Susan, not that I'm going to resume my acting career.
Well, that's fortunate.
But I was wondering if there really is anything to this Stanislavski theory. You know, that if you visualize yourself in a role and live the role, people will accept you in it.
Meaning what, George?
Well, for the last 5 minutes, I have been an irresistible lover. No woman can withstand me. Kiss me, Susan.
Why, of course, George.
There. Stan, I think you've got something.
Irene Dunn and Fred McMurray will be back next week in another exciting comedy adventure in the gay new series, Bright Star. This is Harry Von Zell inviting you to join us then.